It was already deep into the night when Wantong dimmed the overhead cabin lights with a tap, leaving only a faint yellow night light in the corner to barely outline the carriage's interior. Thick black mist still swirled outside the windows, blotting out everything from view. Chun-Lu had long since scrambled up from the carpet. She spread her bath towel in the middle of the floor, then fetched several more towels and stacked them to make a pillow, bustling about with obvious delight. "Teacher Wen, you sleep here. Sister Sue, you take this side. I'll sleep right in the middle." She patted the carpet, satisfied with her arrangement. "Why the middle?" Su Qingli stepped over, gazing down at the makeshift bedding Chun-Lu had laid out, her tone calm. "I'm scared of the dark. Sleeping in the middle makes me feel safe," Chun-Lu replied matter-of-factly. Su Qingli shot her a glance and said nothing, sitting down in her assigned spot. When Wantong folded her own towels into a pillow, then turned to look at Lin Mu. "Lin Mu, where will you rest?" she asked. Lin Mu was standing before the glowing hologram screen, scrolling one last time through the trade forum to check for new private messages. Satisfied there were none, he stood upright. "I'll take that far end over there," Lin Mu said, nodding toward the opposite side of the carriage, roughly 3 or 4 meters away from the 3 girls' bedding. A small section of carpet lay there, one he'd set aside deliberately earlier when laying out floor coverings, meant as his personal resting space for the night. "That far?" Chun-Lu frowned, about to speak, but swallowed her words before they left her mouth. "Men and women ought to keep a respectful distance," Lin Mu said casually. He grabbed a single bath towel to use as a blanket and strode toward the far end of the carriage. When Wantong parted her lips as if to say something, but in the end only pushed her glasses higher up her nose and stayed silent. Su Qingli, meanwhile, had already lain down, her expression unconcerned with everything around her. The nightlight cast such weak illumination that Lin Mu quickly faded into a blurry silhouette at the other end of the carriage. Chun-Lu lay in the middle, staring at that vague shape for a long while before rolling over and burying her face in her stacked towel pillow. "Xiao Lu not asleep yet?" When Wantong whispered softly. "Almost." Chun-Lu's muffled voice came from beneath the towels. Silence settled over the cabin, broken only by the faint rhythmic rumble of the moving train and the distant whisper of wind outside the windows. Lin Mu stretched out on his carpet, hands laced behind his head, eyes wide open as he stared up at the pitch-black ceiling. Sleep eluded him. His mind buzzed with chaotic fragments of everything that had unfolded that day. That morning, he'd still been in his university dormitory. His roommate Zhang Lao had been blasting Moon over Chang'an, the drama starring Su Qingli, and Lin Mu had snapped at him to put on headphones, annoyed by the noise. Now, in the blink of an eye, he was riding this supernatural train alongside Zhang Lao's celebrity idol, the nation's fairy. They'd fought zombies side by side, struggling to survive together. Then there was Teacher Wen. Last semester, he'd secretly played on his phone during her lecture, and when she'd called on him to answer a question, he'd nearly drawn a blank. Now Teacher Wen slept just a few meters away, and the train's hologram display even publicly showed the numerical favorability rating between them. And Chun-Lu, too. The dazzling freshman campus beauty queen, the center of every boy's conversation on campus, was curled up asleep in the same carriage as him. None of this felt real. Lin Mu closed his eyes, trying to relax his racing thoughts. But images of the day's zombies kept flooding his mind. Ashen gray skin, cloudy milky eyes, and the putrid stench wafting from their rotting jaws. The zombie lord haunted his thoughts most of all, the mocking glint in its scarlet eyes, its primal, feral battle instinct. If he hadn't possessed an SSS-Rank talent, he would surely be dead by now. Lin Mu replayed every brutal moment of the day in his head, his breathing growing unsteady. Just then, a faint rustling sound drifted over. A soft scrape, like fabric sliding across carpet. The noise was barely audible, yet in the quiet night aboard the train, it rang crystal clear to his ears. Lin Mu opened his eyes and turned toward the sound. Beneath the dim yellow glow, a blurry figure was slowly creeping across the carpet toward him. Not walking, not even crawling, rolling. One slow rock, a second, a third. Wrapped tightly in a bath towel, it looked like a tiny creature inching its way forward. Lin Mu froze, caught off guard, before the figure rolled to a stop right beside him. In the dim light, he made out Chun-Lu's face and her big, watery eyes. "Chun-Lu, what are you doing over here?" Lin Mu whispered, confused. "Senior, you're still awake?" Chun-Lu's voice was far softer than usual. "I can't sleep. Why did you come over?" Lin Mu pressed again. "I can't sleep either," Chun-Lu murmured, shuffling an inch closer to his side. Her twin ponytails had come loose, long black hair fanned out across the carpet, making her small face look even more delicate. Lin Mu caught a flicker of hidden unease glinting in her bright eyes. What's wrong? He lowered his voice further. Senior, every time I close my eyes, all I see are those zombies. Qianlu bit her lower lip and whispered. And that huge zombie lord, when it locked eyes with us, I swear it was staring straight at me. She shrank her neck as she spoke. Lin Mu fell silent. He hadn't stopped to consider how Qianlu must feel. She was the youngest of the three girls, only 18, a freshman barely out of high school. She'd grown up sheltered by her parents, never exposed to such bloody, violent sights before. Though she'd stayed safely out of harm's way all day, watching zombie skulls cave in and black ichor splatter everywhere had dealt her no lesser psychological blow than those who'd fought up close. You're scared? Lin Mu asked plainly. A little. But I didn't want Teacher 1 or Sister Sue to find out. They're scared too, they just won't admit it. Qianlu confessed honestly. Lin Mu hadn't expected this seemingly carefree, bold girl to be so perceptive and sensitive. Senior, Qianlu called out again quietly. Lin Mu replied. Can I hug you? Her voice shrank to a near inaudible murmur. Lin Mu blinked, stunned by the question. Holding you makes me feel safe, she breathed, barely loud enough to hear. The faint nightlight traced the soft outline of the young girl's frame. Lin Mu stared into her glistening eyes, saw the quiet fear lingering deep within them, and slowly nodded. Qianlu's face lit up instantly. She shuffled cautiously closer, first tentatively resting a hand on his arm. When he did not pull away, she pressed her entire body against his chest. A faint sweet scent of shower gel clung to her skin. She buried her face in his chest, curling up like a kitten that had finally found a safe nest, rubbing gently against his torso. Senior, Qianlu's muffled voice echoed against his chest. Yeah, you're so warm. Lin Mu said nothing, only rested a light hand on her back and patted it slowly. Qianlu nuzzled closer, listening to the steady thud of his heartbeat, her body gradually relaxing completely. At the far end of the carriage, when Wantong tossed and turned in her bedding, by the faint glow of the nightlight, she glanced beside her and realized Qianlu was gone. When Wantong froze, her gaze drifting across the carpet to the opposite end. There she saw two indistinct figures pressed tightly together on Lin Mu's mat. Her movement stalled. She stared at the sight for 2 full seconds before closing her eyes to try and sleep again. Yet her mind was in turmoil, and she lay awake for ages. On the other side, Su Qingli's eyes were also wide open. She'd noticed Qianlu rolling over long before when Wantong. Thanks to her wind-hearing skill, she'd caught every word exchanged between the two the entire time. Su Qingli closed her eyes shortly after. Neither Lin Mu nor Qianlu had any idea their every quiet interaction had been witnessed. Lin Mu, for his part, struggled fiercely against his body's natural instincts. A beautiful girl in a JK uniform had voluntarily nestled herself in his arms. The faint floral scent of her skin, her warm body pressed against his. Lin Mu forced his breathing to stay even, his gaze fixed rigidly on the dark ceiling, forcing his mind to race through trivial, unrelated thoughts to distract himself. What would they eat for breakfast tomorrow? What horrors awaited them at the next station? Would the train's lumber supply hold out? He clung to these meaningless worries to smother the hot, restless heat coiling in his chest. It did little good. Senior, do you have an iron rod hidden in your clothes? Qianlu suddenly whispered. Quiet. Go to sleep, Lin Mu urged her in a low, strained tone. Okay. Qianlu obediently fell silent. But barely 10 seconds passed before she spoke again. Senior, can you fall asleep? Mind your own business. If you don't rest, head back to your spot. Lin Mu snapped, flustered. Senior, let me help you. Do you even know what you're saying? Lin Mu asked, utterly speechless. I know. You're the one who's clueless. Girls take the initiative when they like someone. Being slow to warm up is just an excuse for not caring at all. Qianlu replied matter-of-factly. Just as Qianlu had said, young women grew bold around someone they held affection for. Meanwhile, not far away, when Wantong and Su Qingli's cheeks slowly flushed pink, their eyelids twitching faintly. Half an hour later, Qianlu snuck off to the bathroom, then returned to curl back up in Lin Mu's embrace. Only then did everyone aboard gradually drift off to sleep. The next morning, the black mist outside the windows had thinned slightly. Faint grayish-white light seeped into the carriage, casting pale splotches across the floor. When Wantong woke first, she blinked awake, fumbling to put on her glasses, her vision clearing from blurry to sharp. Her gaze drifted automatically to the opposite end of the cabin. There on Lin Mu's carpet, the two were still locked in an embrace. Qianlu was curled against him like a cat, her head resting on his shoulder, one leg draped carelessly over his thighs. When Wantong pushed her glasses higher, her eyes lingering on the pair for 3 full seconds before she turned silently to stare at the other carriage wall. Su Qingli had woken up at some point without anyone noticing. She leaned against the bench, the hem of her traditional Hanfu gown pooling on the carpet. One elbow propped her chin as she watched the embracing figures across the cabin, her face betraying no readable emotion. The two women's eyes met for a split second, neither uttering a single word. But in that brief exchange of glances, a silent, unspoken understanding settled between them. They would pretend they'd seen nothing. When Wantong stood up gently and walked over to the hologram screen, pulling up the train's status panel to study it. Su Qingli tore her gaze away, smoothing her hair with elegant movements before joining Wantong to examine the display together. 10 minutes later, movement stirred on Lin Mu's side of the carriage. The moment Chen Lu woke, memories of the previous night flooded back to her mind. She sat bolt upright in one fluid motion, glancing over at Wantong and Su Qingli, who were still reviewing the train data. She greeted them cheerfully, pretending nothing unusual had happened. "Good morning, Teacher Wen, Sister Su." "Good morning," Wantong nodded in reply. "Your favorability rating went up," Su Qingli said flatly, eyes still fixed on the panel. "Huh?" It rose. "Really?" Chen Lu froze, her voice stiff. She'd planned to play dumb and brush the night off, only to have her cover blown instantly. Bond target favorability scores: Su Qingli, 15, Wantong, 42, Chen Lu, 38. It increased by 5 points. Su Qingli pointed to the updated numerical values glowing on the screen. "Ah, this must be because sleeping next to Senior felt so comforting, haha." Chen Lu laughed awkwardly, trying to smooth things over. "There's no need to panic. When fear is soothed by another person's presence, it's only natural to develop a sense of dependency and rising favorability. It's a standard psychological reaction." Su Qingli glanced at her, offering a rational explanation rather than teasing her. "Exactly. That's exactly it." Chen Lu nodded vigorously, her expression screaming that Sister Su alone understood her. "All right, everyone, let's eat breakfast. The information for the next station will be released shortly." Wantong clapped her hands lightly, steering the conversation away from the awkward topic. Every person in the cabin, including Lin Mu, who'd been pretending to sleep, released a quiet breath of relief. Everyone had known this sort of tension would surface sooner or later, yet they all agreed to play oblivious for the sake of peace. Such was human nature, after all. Breakfast was plain, compressed biscuits paired with mineral water. The four gathered around the hologram screen, eating as they scrolled through chatter on the public global channel. Nearly 1 million survivors once resided in District 67. Now their numbers had dwindled below that mark, all anxiously awaiting the announcement of the second station. "Teacher Wen, what sort of location do you think today's station will be?" Su Qingli sipped water in small, delicate mouthfuls, her gaze drifting to the black mist beyond the glass. "I can't say for certain, but the tutorial phase has ended, so the difficulty will undoubtedly rise. Yesterday's zombie town was little more than a training ground to teach us the rules of this game." Wantong chewed her biscuit slowly as she spoke. Right then, the emotionless mechanical system voice echoed through the cabin once more. "The train will arrive at the next station in 1 hour. Station name, Tokyo Ghouls. Location, Parallel World, Tokyo, Japan. Docking duration, 48 hours. Number of trains currently docked, 5. Mission objective, locate man-eating ghouls hiding among the human populace. Slay 1 to complete the task. Mission failure punishment, erasure. Penalty for failing to return to the train on time, erasure. Forbidden action, disclose any information regarding the train game to native residents. Violators will face erasure." A heavy 3-second silence hung over the entire carriage. Chen Lu forgot to chew the biscuit in her mouth, her eyes widening more and more with every passing second. Erasure? Erasure again. Why is every penalty erasure now? Yesterday, it was permanent detainment. Today, straight-up execution. Did they replace the game's HR team? Chen Lu swallowed her biscuit hard, her voice cracking with shock. The tutorial period is over. Yesterday's permanent detainment left a slim chance of reprieve, but erasure today means exactly what it says. Fail the mission, and you die. Su Qingli set her water bottle down, her tone utterly calm. Any delay returning to the train also results in erasure. In other words, we must finish the mission inside the city and return to the train punctually. Even a single second late spells death. Wantong pushed her glasses up her nose and clarified. We're also banned from revealing game secrets to the locals, or we get erased too. What if we accidentally slip up? Chen Lu fretted nervously. Then don't slip up, Su Qingli replied bluntly and succinctly. Chen Lu quickly shuffled closer to Lin Mu's side. Lin Mu did not speak a word. He simply lifted a hand to pat the top of her head gently, his gaze locked firmly on the hologram screen as he reanalyzed every line of the mission notice repeatedly. A parallel version of Tokyo. If it's a fully realized parallel world, it must function as a complete, self-contained society, Lin Mu analyzed aloud. Precisely. That explains why the threat of erasure hangs over us to enforce compliance. Without that harsh penalty, some participants would undoubtedly choose to stay trapped in this world permanently. Su Qingli nodded in agreement. But why would anyone want to stay? This isn't our original world. Chen Lu blinked in confusion, unable to wrap her head around the idea. This is a complete functional world, with cities, social structures, and ordinary daily life. For someone with no remaining attachments to their original reality, living out their days here would feel no different from going back home. When Wantong picked up the thread of the conversation to explain, Chen Lu opened her mouth to respond, then fell silent. She still had her family waiting for her back in her original world, but not every participant could say the same. Many endured fractured, unhappy family lives. Being stranded in this separate world would free them from toxic household bonds, a fate some might even welcome. Even for those who love their families, the train game offered constant, unending mortal danger. Trading permanent separation from loved ones for an escape from this deadly game wasn't such an unthinkable bargain. After all, their families would continue living safe, unharmed lives in their original world. They would simply never see each other again. Xiaolu, imagine your parents knowing everything you've endured right now. Would they rather see you risk certain death trying to return to them, or watch you build a safe new life here, even if you never see them again? When Wantong posed the question to Chen Lu, Mom and Dad would definitely want me to be safe, even if we can never meet again. Chen Lu's voice softened, heavy with melancholy. That's why the erasure for late return rule isn't merely a punishment. It's a way to block off all escape routes that would let us abandon the game entirely. Lin Mu summed up their discussion. Additionally, the mission grants us 48 hours to complete our objective, yet only requires us to hunt and kill a single ghoul. Su Qingli pointed out the remaining clues within the notice. This implies the ghouls are either extremely well hidden among civilians, extraordinarily powerful, or both. Otherwise, the time limit would not be so lenient, and the task would demand more than just one kill. When Wantong added her reasoning, I lean toward both possibilities. The ghouls blend seamlessly into crowds, and they possess formidable strength. Lin Mu shared his verdict. I agree. When Wantong nodded instantly, Su Qingli nodded her consent as well. Chen Lu quickly bobbed her head in agreement too, following the other's lead. One final warning. 5 separate trains will participate in this station's mission. We must watch out for not only the ghouls, but also participants from the other 4 trains, Jude. When Wantong reminded the group seriously. The mission doesn't require us to turn on each other. We all have to kill ghouls. Shouldn't we cooperate to finish the task more efficiently? Chen Lu asked in confusion. Shared goals don't mean shared methods. After years in the entertainment industry, I've seen countless people who smile to your face yet stab you in the back behind closed doors. If my family didn't have some influence, I would have been drowned in baseless slander. All right, I was overthinking this. Chen Lu nodded slowly after mulling over her words. The urge to begrudge others their good fortune is instinct carved into some people's bones. Su Qingli leaned back against the bench, her tone flat and unemotional. Stay cautious. Always stay on guard. When Wantong summed up concisely. Don't pick fights first, but show no mercy if someone comes for us. Su Qingli cut straight to the heart of the matter. Chen Lu shrank her neck, sensing the atmosphere inside the carriage shift instantly. Don't be nervous. I'm here. Lin Mu patted the top of her head. Chen Lu glanced up at him, a flicker of relief shining in her big eyes, and nodded firmly. We have 1 hour until we arrive at the station. We need to make preparations before then. When Wantong stood and walked over to the light screen, opening the crafting system. Your iron rod works well, but facing unknown monsters like ghouls, we'd better have more weapon options. Su Qingli followed her over. Lin Mu nodded and stepped up to the light screen. When Wantong was already holding out her hand to him, the pair's coordination grew more seamless by the minute. Lin Mu laced his fingers through in Wantong's and selected machete within the crafting system. Craft, machete times 1 cost, wood times 1, iron block times 2. Affection critical triggered. Current bonded partner in contact. When Wantong, affection value, 42. Critical multiplier this time, 20x. Original output, machete times 1. Actual output, machete times 20. 20 brand new machetes materialized out of thin air on the carriage floor, their blades glinting cold, sharp enough to slice through anything. So many. They're a little heavy, but I can carry them. Chen Lu knelt down, picked one up, and swung it experimentally. Everyone take 5 and stow them in your backpacks. Make sure you can grab a weapon at any moment if needed, Lin Mu instructed. Got it. Chun Lu nodded obediently and stuffed 5 machetes into her bag. Su Qingli grabbed a machete and swung it a few times, then frowned. What's wrong? Doesn't it feel right? Lin Mu asked, confused. I trained with swords for film shoots, but blades like this feel unfamiliar, Su Qingli replied. You know sword work? That's perfect. Lin Mu's eyes lit up. Any weapon she'd trained with would serve her far better than one she hadn't. He gripped Wen Wantong's hand once more and selected another craft from the system. This time, iron swords. Craft, iron sword ×1. Cost, wood ×2, iron block ×2. Affection, critical triggered. Current bonded partner in contact, Wen Wantong. Affection value, 42. Critical multiplier this time, 10x. Original output, iron sword ×1. Actual output, iron sword ×10. 10 brand new iron swords, sheathed in scabbards, clattered onto the carriage floor at once. Chun Lu picked one and drew the blade, its edge gleaming with icy sharpness. Crafting an iron sword uses one more piece of wood than a machete. All for the scabbard, I bet. Chun Lu guessed. They're solidly constructed, that must be it. Su Qingli picked up a sword, drew it smoothly, and looked thoroughly satisfied. She twirled the blade into an elegant sword flourish on the spot, her movements fluid and practiced. Paired with her traditional ancient-style dress, she looked every inch a wandering swordswoman from old tales. Wow, Sister Su, you're amazing. Chun Lu's eyes sparkled with admiration. Su Qingli takes 5 of these 10 swords, and we'll split the rest. Make sure every backpack holds at least one. We might need them anytime. Lin Mu assigned the weapons. Time ticked by second. The black smog outside the train windows faded little by little, replaced by a gray, murky sky and the faint silhouette of a city in the distance. We're nearly there. Su Qingli stood and walked over to the window. Look, the Tokyo skytree far off. This is really Tokyo. Chun Lu practically pressed her entire body against the glass. It's a Tokyo from another world. When Wantong stepped behind her, her gaze fixed on the gradually sharpening city skyline. It looks so identical. All the landmark buildings are here, yet something's off. The skytree has tiny differences, somehow. Chun Lu stayed glued to the window, like a kitten pressed up against a pane. I've attended promotional events in Tokyo before. It's eerily similar, yet subtly wrong. Such a strange sensation, Su Qingli said in her usual calm tone. A parallel world, so discrepancies are inevitable. What matters is what dwells in this realm. When Wantong pushed her glasses up the bridge of her nose. Ghouls, Lin Mu replied bluntly. Silence fell over the carriage, and the train began to slow. The scenery outside cleared into full view, a sprawling massive city stretching out before them, lined with skyscrapers, iconic towers, and bridges. Everything mirrored the Tokyo of their original world, yet subtle details marked it as different. The train slowly rolled into an empty Japanese-style station. A classic Tokyo platform stood before them, electronic screens still flickering with train schedule information. Staring at the scene, Chun Lu was hit by a powerful sense of déjà vu. I've been here before. I got off at this exact station when I traveled to Tokyo last time. It's the station of a parallel world, so it closely matches your memories, when Wantong explained. Station arrival, Tokyo Ghouls. Countdown timer, 47 hours, 59 minutes remaining. All passengers, please disembark. The train doors slid open soundlessly, and a gust of urban air flooded into the carriage. Unlike the rot stench of the zombie town, this air carried the faint scent of human city life. Lin Mu took a deep breath and stepped off the train first. The other trains have arrived too. Su Qingli's voice came from behind him. Lin Mu followed her line of sight. Along the same platform, 4 other trains sat parked alongside their own. 5 trains lined up in a row, each with a distinct design. Their train, the family vessel, had been upgraded, its exterior far cleaner than when they first entered the game. Its formerly rust-streaked walls now neat and polished. The train beside theirs also looked relatively new, clearly upgraded to Tier 2. The remaining 3 trains were another story entirely, their hulls covered in rust, identical to the family vessel's Tier 1 state. Besides us, 1 Tier 2 train and 3 Tier 1 trains, when Wantong murmured quietly. That means the groups on those 3 old trains barely collected any resources at the first station. Either they lacked strength, or they retreated to their trains immediately after finishing the mission, instead of gathering all they could. Su Qingli's eyes swept over the 3 rusted carriages. As she spoke, the doors of the other trains slid open one after another. 5 men stepped out from the farthest Tier 1 train, all young, dressed in varied attire, hoodies, button-down shirts, and one wearing a delivery rider's uniform. The second Tier 1 train also released 5 passengers, 3 men and 2 women in business suits, looking like office workers from the same company. Only 3 people emerged from the third Tier 1 train, 2 portly middle-aged men and a young woman. Just 3? Did their train only start with 3? Or, Chen Lu trailed off, her meaning obvious. They may have begun with a small group, or lost members at the first station, when Wantong's voice dropped low. Lin Mu's gaze skipped past the 3 rusted trains to the last Tier 2 carriage. Its doors opened, and a burly middle-aged man in a black windbreaker stepped out first, scanning the entire platform rapidly the moment his feet touched the ground. Behind him followed 1 man and 2 women, all around 30 years old, dressed like polished elites. The atmosphere on the platform was not openly tense, yet far from relaxed. 21 people from 5 trains spread across the platform, all maintaining an unspoken, cautious distance from one another. Then a gasp cut through the quiet. Su Qingli, is that you? Su Qingli, the actress from Moon Over Chang'an? Su Qingli turned her head slightly to glance at the woman who'd spoken. Oh my god, it really is you. I thought you looked familiar, but didn't dare to say anything. How did you end up here? The woman's voice shot up an octave. Su Qingli offered no reply, only nodded politely before looking away. Still, a murmur erupted across the whole platform. Su Qingli? The A-list celebrity Su Qingli. Is this real? She's on one of these trains. Wow, my daughter adores her. Her bedroom walls are covered in Su Qingli posters. Look at her dress, that ancient robe. She looks like a celestial maiden. Chen Lu stood behind Su Qingli, watching everyone's shocked faces, overcome by a strange feeling. She'd reacted the exact same way just 1 day prior. Now she'd already grown used to living, traveling, and fighting alongside a major star. At that moment, the emotionless mechanical system voice echoed once more. Survival supplies for this station have been distributed. Each train, send a representative forward 1 by 1 to claim treasure chests. All chests contain identical items critical to this mission. Use them with caution. The second the voice faded, 5 treasure chests materialized in the empty center of the platform. Survival supplies? What could they be? Who cares if the train system gave them? We might as well claim ours first. The burly man in the black windbreaker from the Tier 2 train strode over to the chest, shot a glance back at his teammates, and opened it. A faint golden flash flickered, and the contents vanished directly into his backpack. His face remained impassive as he walked back to his group. The other groups opened their chests in turn, until only the final chest remained unclaimed. This supply is vital. Should we use our maximum critical multiplier? When Wantong lowered her voice to ask, Lin Mu paused, then caught her meaning. Each bonded partner granted 1 fixed maximum affection critical multiplier per day. If the chest's contents truly were mission critical, activating the highest multiplier would maximize their gains. Use it, Su Qingli said crisply, without hesitation. I agree too. Chen Lu nodded seriously, unusually calm instead of bouncing with excitement. Then we'll use it. But whose bond should we draw on? When Wantong turned to Lin Mu. When Wantong's affection value sat at 42, Chen Lu's at 38, and Su Qingli's at 15. Lin Mu immediately took Chen Lu's hand and marched forward to the last chest. Mine. Chen Lu blinked in surprise. It's only the start of the day. We'll save the 42x multiplier for later. We'll use yours first, Lin Mu confirmed firmly. Chest opening initiated. Item obtained. Truth Talisman ×1. Item description. Reveals non-human beings disguised as humans for 1 hour after activation. Affection critical triggered. Current bonded partner in contact. Chen Lu. Affection value. 38. Daily fixed maximum critical multiplier consumed. Critical multiplier this time. 38x. Obtained. Truth Talisman ×38. 38 Truth Talismans slipped silently into the slots of Lin Mu's backpack. Once he returned to their group, Lin Mu pulled up his backpack interface to show the others. Reveals disguised non-humans for 1 hour. When Wantong read the item description, her eyes lighting up. So if we use this talisman, we can tell who's human and who's a ghoul. Chen Lu perked up excitedly. Exactly. This supply is truly essential. Tokyo holds millions of people. Without a way to identify ghouls, hunting hidden ones within 2 days would be like fishing for a needle in a haystack. Su Qingli stared at the image of the talisman. And we have 38 talismans, each lasting an hour. That's 38 full hours of detection time. When Wantong calculated quickly, the station stop lasts 48 hours. That means we can keep the talisman active for nearly the entire duration. A faint smile tugged at Su Qingli's lips. Once we find ghouls, my current combat strength should be enough to take them down, Lin Mu whispered. Also, ghouls should drop treasure chests when defeated, right? Chen Lu added quietly. 38 hours of detection. If we hunt enough ghouls and collect more chest drops, using today's maximum critical multiplier will have been well worth it, Lin Mu said with certainty. We still need to stay vigilant. Don't forget the fallout from slaying too many zombies at the last station. If we draw some powerful boss here, we'll be in serious danger. This isn't a beginner mission anymore, Su Qingli warned cautiously. Lin Mu's expression turned serious, and he nodded. As Lin Mu's group spoke in hushed tones, the burly man in the black windbreaker stepped forward and raised his voice to address everyone. Everyone, crossing paths at the same station must mean fate. Let me introduce myself. I'm Zhao Tai, captain of the Iron Chain Vessel. Iron Chain Vessel? What a tough name, Chen Lu muttered quietly to herself. Zhao Tai stood at over 185 centimeters tall. The cuffs of his black windbreaker rolled up to his forearms, revealing thick, defined muscles. I've checked, and I assume we all received the same item. Truth talismans, correct? Zhao Tai continued. He swept a hand through the air to pull up his backpack interface for everyone to see. Truth talisman ×1. The item description matched the talismans Lin Mu's group had obtained exactly. Without a doubt, our shared mission is to locate and eliminate one ghoul, Zhao Tai stated confidently. We got the same thing too. Same here, only one talisman. Then the mission must be killing ghouls, no question. Zhao Tai waited for the chatter to die down before speaking again. Since we all share the same goal, I have a proposal. What if we team up and move together? A wave of louder murmurs surged across the platform. I did quick math just now. A single talisman only lasts 1 hour. If all 5 trains split up, each group only gets 1 hour of detection time. Tokyo is massive, with millions of residents. How likely are we to find a ghoul in a single hour? Zhao Tai raised his voice to drown out the noise. But if we unite, we can rotate the 5 talismans, giving us 5 full hours of detection total. Our odds of finding ghouls quintuple instantly. Several people nodded the second he finished speaking. He's got a point. 5 trains working together, rotating talismans, far better than splitting off alone. More people mean more safety too. We can gang up on any ghouls we encounter. Solid plan. I'm on board. Senior, Zhao Tai makes some sense. If we didn't have 38 talismans, I might have fallen for his pitch. Chen Lu leaned in to whisper in Lin Mu's ear. It sounds reasonable on the surface. But who would make all the group's decisions? When Wantong pushed her glasses up, speaking equally softly. Sure enough, someone stepped forward moments later. From the group of 3 men and 2 women in business suits, a man in a dark gray suit walked out. He looked around 30, his tie still perfectly knotted despite a full day spent on the train. Mr. Zhao, your proposal sounds promising, yet I have a question to raise. The suited man spoke clearly, with the cool composure of someone negotiating business deals. What's your question? Zhao Tai turned to face him. You want to organize a joint operation? Who will be in command? The suited man asked. The atmosphere on the platform shifted subtly. Zhao Tai did not answer right away, and the suited man pressed on. 5 trains, 21 strangers from separate backgrounds. If we act as one group, who gives orders when danger strikes? How will resources be divided? Whose judgment takes priority during disagreements? Well said. I was just about to ask that very question. A portly middle-aged man from the 3-person team clapped his hands twice, speaking in a sarcastic, mocking tone. Are you planning to appoint yourself Supreme Commander, Mr. Zhao? I only propose cooperation. I never claimed I need to lead. If someone more qualified steps forward, I will follow their orders. Zhao Tai shot a brief, unimpressed glance at the overweight man. His words were airtight, making his stance clear while shutting down the man's accusations. Very well, if you put it that way, let's first gauge each team's strength. In a world like this, letting the strongest lead benefits all of us, the suited man said. His meaning was plain. Anyone hoping to lead needed to reveal their true power first and prove they deserved the position. Very well, let's display our strength first. Zhao Fei fell silent for 2 seconds before nodding in agreement. He then stepped forward 2 paces and pulled up his basic stats panel. The panel unfurled mid-air, all data clearly visible to everyone present. Player, Zhao Tai level, LV.4 strength, 18 agility, 16 constitution, 16 spirit, 16. I'm level 4 now. I leveled up 3 times, gaining 6 extra points across all attributes. On top of that, I work out regularly, so my physical fitness was already solid. That's how I ended up with these stats. A split second of silence hung over the platform, then an uproar erupted. Level 4. He hit level 4 after only the first station. 16 agility, 16 constitution, 16 spirit, all double digits. That's ridiculous. Good heavens, 18 strength. Mine's only 6. He's 3 times stronger than me. A young white-collar woman from the suited man's convoy, who'd recognized Su Qingli earlier, gasped out loud. How did he pull that off? There's no way to hit level 4 after just one station. I busted my back and only made level 2. A young man in a food delivery rider's uniform gaped in sheer shock. The 4 other young men sharing his vehicle whispered amongst themselves, their initial wariness toward Zhao Tai melting into awe. Chen Lu's mouth also fell open, yet her reaction differed wildly from everyone else's. Only level 4, she hissed, her voice trembling as she struggled to hold back laughter. When Wantong quickly tugged her sleeve to signal her to stay quiet. Su Qingli's expression remained unchanged, but the faint upward tilt of her lips betrayed her true thoughts. Lin Mu glanced at Zhao Tai's panel, then pulled up his own stats window. Player, Lin Mu level, LV.9 strength, 59 agility, 44 constitution, 25 spirit. 58 he resolved not to say a word. Level 4. Humph, big deal. A middle-aged man with a bulging beer belly let out a cold snort. Friend, do you have something to say? Zhao Tai met his gaze, his tone calm, yet his eyes darkening. My name's Qian Dimeo, from the Ash Convoy. Zhao Tai, hitting level 4 is impressive, but have you forgotten there's something far more important than levels and stats in this game? The beer-bellied Qian Dimeo showed no fear whatsoever. He raised his right hand and swept his gaze across the whole crowd. Skills. The single word seemed to freeze the air on the platform for a heartbeat. I drew a grade B skill, Flame Palm, during the initial resource draw. A scarlet glow suddenly bloomed in Qian Dimeo's palm, followed by a bright blaze surging forth. Visible waves of heat rippled outwards. Silence blanketed the platform for a second, then shouts far louder than before burst forth. Holy hell, fire. Real flames. A grade B skill? He actually pulled a grade B skill. That's overpowered. An offensive ability too. This guy's a total powerhouse. Even Zhao Tai's expression shifted. He stared at the steady fire burning in Qian Dimeo's palm, his features growing grave. Everyone here knew exactly how valuable Flame Palm, a grade B skill, truly was. Pleased by the crowd's stunned reaction, Qian Dimeo tossed the small fireball in his hand once before retracting his talent. The flames died out, leaving only a wisp of smoke drifting upward. Which is why I agree we travel together, but I should lead the group. Qian Dimeo clapped his hands, speaking with unmasked arrogance, utterly convinced he was the protagonist of this situation. The atmosphere on the platform exploded completely thanks to Qian Dimeo's grade B Flame Palm. While Zhao Tai's level 4 stats had stunned everyone, the appearance of a grade B skill carried far greater weight. A grade B skill is undeniably powerful, but leadership isn't just for whoever hits harder. Zhao Tai spoke again, his tone far more cautious than earlier. Oh, then what else do you need? Qian Dimeo tilted his chin upward, brimming with smug confidence. Experience, judgment, teamwork, these matter more than raw solo combat strength, Zhao Tai replied after careful consideration. TCH, you've only cleared one station. Where's your experience? We all started from 0, so stop pretending you're some veteran player. Qian Dimeo scoffed dismissively. At the very least, I wouldn't rush to claim command before understanding the full situation. Zhao Tai's voice turned cold. Tension spiked between the two men. The other players stood by, some watching the drama unfold, others wearing worried faces, a few murmuring quietly to one another. Just as the standoff dragged on, a voice cut through the noise. Let's go. This is boring. Lin Mu tore his gaze away from the arguing pair at the platform's center and turned to head for the station exit. I agree it's tedious. Hurry up. We still need to hunt ghouls for treasure chest drops. Chen Lu immediately trotted after him, her twin ponytails flying behind her. Wen Wantong and Su Qingli exchanged a glance, then silently turned to follow Lin Mu. The 4 walked straight through the crowd toward the ticket gates at the platform's far end. Stop right there. Qian Dimeo's shout echoed from behind them. Lin Mu did not slow his pace. I'm talking to you 4, can't you hear me? Qian Dimeo raised his voice further, clear anger lacing his words. Lin Mu still ignored him. Qian Dimeo's face darkened with humiliation on the platform. He'd just showcased his rare grade B skill, earning everyone's reverence. Yet these 4 dared to brush him off without a second thought. I told you to halt. Red light flared once more in Qian Dimeo's right palm, a fireball igniting once again. The intense heat warped the surrounding air. The other players scrambled backward, afraid of being caught in the crossfire. Mr. Qian, let's talk this through calmly. There's no need for violence, Zhao Tai frowned. A a warning in his tone. I only wanted to call them over to discuss a partnership. I wouldn't actually hurt them. Qian Dimeo forced a hollow smile. Linmu still did not look back. When Watong, however, paused, she turned around, raising a hand to mimic a handgun gesture. Bang! A visible compressed air bullet shot from her fingertips, moving so fast its trajectory could barely be tracked. The projectile whistled past Qian Dimeo's ear and slammed squarely into a concrete pillar 2 meters beside him. Boom! Cement fragments sprayed everywhere, a fist-sized jagged hole blown clean through the pillar, rubble scattered across the ground. Dead silence fell over the entire platform. Qian Dimeo froze where he stood, fire still burning in his palm, his face drained of all color. If that shot had veered even slightly, it would have buried itself in his skull instead of the pillar. The next one will be aimed at your head, Wen Watong said gently, yet her words carried more weight than any outright threat. With that, she turned and caught up to Lin Mu and the others, leaving whispers swirling across the platform. What skill was that? The firepower's insane. So beautiful and that strong. Miss, spare me. Who exactly is that woman? She looks so quiet and gentle, yet strikes without hesitation. Aren't you curious about the guy leading them? She acts as docile as a cat beside him. The fire in Qian Dimeo's palm died away without him noticing. He opened his mouth to retort, yet his throat tightened, not a single word able to escape. Brother Qian, don't chase them. Those four are not people we can afford to provoke. The young woman behind him tugged his sleeve and whispered, I know that. I only wanted to talk cooperation, not fight. Qian Dimeo's voice came out hoarse as he struggled to maintain a composed front. Xiao Tai shot him a glance and said nothing. His gaze drifted toward the direction Lin Mu's group had vanished, his expression complicated. Of the four, the woman who'd attacked was clearly not the core of their party. The one truly calling the shots was the young man leading them, who hadn't turned back once. Just how powerful was he? Elsewhere, Lin Mu's group had left the platform, walking along the passage leading out of the station. Teacher 1, that shot you fired just now was absolutely awesome. Shen Lu walked beside Wen Wantong, voice buzzing with excitement. Quit teasing me. Wen Wantong flushed from the compliments. I mean it. I didn't even see you move before I heard that bang, and the pillar got blown apart. Did you see how pale that guy turned? It was hilarious. Shen Lu grew more animated by the second. Air bullet may only be a grade C skill, but boosted by 51 spirit points, its damage rivals certain grade B abilities, Su Qingli stated matter-of-factly. Exactly. His flame palm looked intimidating, but look how flimsy he seems. His spirit stat can't be high. 10 points at most, I'd wager. Chen Lu scoffed without reservation. And then there's Teacher 1, elegant yet decisive in combat. This is what a true expert looks like, she continued right after. Enough with the flattery. When Wantong's cheeks burned brighter, and she lightly tapped the top of Chen Lu's head. Lin Mu walked at the front, a faint smile tugging at his lips listening to the three girls' banter behind him. Senior, why aren't you saying anything? Were you also blown away by Teacher Wen's move? Chen Lu skipped forward, tilting her head to look up at him. Teacher 1 is indeed incredible. Lin Mu nodded in agreement. When Wantong's ears flushed bright red, she quickened her pace to walk beside him and lowered her voice. Don't encourage her nonsense. I'm only telling the truth. Lin Mu smiled and reached out to lace his fingers through hers. They'd held hands countless times during brutal combat encounters, yet this sudden, casual touch still caught Wen Wantong off guard. She did not pull away, only her ears reddened further. 1 Wantong favorability plus 3, current favorability. 45 watching the pair interlocked, Chen Lu darted over from Lin Mu's other side and grabbed his free hand. That's cheating. You two can't leave me out, this hand's mine. Does that mean I'm the one left out? Su Qingli's cool voice cut in. You can have this hand, Sister Su. Chen Lu's eyes widened, shocked the famous celebrity would say such a thing, immediately ready to yield her hold on Lin Mu's arm. I only jested. Stay alert. We're exiting the station now. Su Qingli redirected the conversation and reminded them to watch their surroundings. The moment they stepped outside the station, the bustling city crashed into their senses. The eerie emptiness inside the train station felt like nothing more than an illusion. Automatic ticket gates still functioned perfectly, streams of people flowing in and out nonstop. Office workers in suits hurried to their destinations. Groups of students with backpacks wandered by. Young mothers pushing strollers paused beside vending machines. Everything looked identical to a normal, bustling metropolis. Sunlight filtered through skyscraper gaps, casting dappled shadows across the pavement. Japanese text and familiar celebrity faces flashed across billboards, the distant rumble of trains echoing through the streets. Wow, Inside the station there wasn't a single person, so how is it packed out here? Chen Lu froze at the exit, stunned by the throng of pedestrians. The train must have a built-in concealment barrier, hiding us from the native residents to avoid suspicion. Su Qingli scanned the surrounding crowds and explained, smoothly shifting the topic. Which means the empty station was a restricted activity zone created by the game, and the world outside these gates is the actual mission domain, when Wantong analyzed. Lin Mu said nothing, simply gazing silently out at the sprawling city before them. Tokyo. A Tokyo from a parallel world. Over 10 million people filled this city, and somewhere among them hid the ghouls they needed to hunt down. Senior, where should we go? Chen Lu tilted her head to ask Lin Mu. Somewhere crowded. Lin Mu thought briefly before answering. A crowded spot? Okubo Park. Chen Lu's eyes lit up. Lin Mu stared at her blankly. What? Did I say something wrong? Isn't Okubo Park packed with people? Chen Lu blinked, looking completely innocent. Can you suggest a proper location for once? Lin Mu sighed helplessly. I'm being serious. Okubo Park's in Shinjuku, one of Tokyo's busiest districts with massive foot traffic. I researched this when I visited Japan before. Shinjuku's the #1 tourist hotspot in the whole city. Chen Lu argued confidently. Xiaolu does have a point. Shinjuku is indeed one of Tokyo's most crowded, diverse districts. If ghouls want to blend in, this area is highly likely their hiding ground. When Wantong mulled over her suggestion and nodded in agreement. Wait, I think we're already in Shinjuku. Look at that street sign over there. Su Qingli, who'd been studying the surrounding scenery, suddenly spoke up. Really? The train dropped us straight in Shinjuku. Chen Lu gaped in surprise. The train stop location is almost certainly part of the mission design. Placing us in Shinjuku is a clear hint, Su Qingli hypothesized. Lin Mu did not respond. He pulled a reality talisman from his inventory and pressed it against his body. A nearly invisible flicker of light crossed his vision the second the talisman made contact, and his entire field of view shifted. It did not grow sharper. Instead, a new visual filter layered over everything. He could now see a faint glow wrapping every person, the warm, gentle aura unique to humans, like a hearth fire on a cold winter day. How's it work? Chen Lu leaned in, curiously staring straight into Lin Mu's eyes. I can see the aura emanating from everyone. All appear normal. Lin Mu swept his gaze over the surrounding pedestrians. All was calm, no abnormalities detected. The four stepped out of the station plaza and walked down Shinjuku's busy streets. Huge advertising screens covered mall exteriors. Loud promotional announcements blared from drugstores on every corner. Suit-clad office workers rushed past. Backpack-clad students paused at crosswalks to wait for traffic lights. Mothers with strollers lingered outside convenience stores. Everything felt far too ordinary. So ordinary it was easy to believe ghouls did not exist in this world at all. After walking for a while, Chen Lu broke the silence. Senior, do you think the talisman's faulty? Or maybe we're searching in the wrong area entirely. The talisman works fine, and our mission location is correct. We just haven't found any ghouls yet. Su Qingli walked beside Lin Mu and replied. But we've been walking for nearly an hour already. Isn't the talisman's time limit almost up? Chen Lu checked the countdown on her system panel. Lin Mu glanced at his own talisman timer, 3 minutes remaining. Once those 3 minutes passed, the talisman's effect would wear off, and the aura filter vision would vanish, returning everything to normal sight. Time's almost out. Lin Mu stopped walking at the side of the road. Nothing at all. When Wantong asked. Not a single anomaly, only regular humans. Chen Lu flopped down onto a roadside railing, her twin ponytails falling over her shoulders, looking thoroughly dejected. This is way too hard. A city with over 10 million people, and we've wandered an hour without spotting a single ghoul. What about players who only have one talisman? An hour's barely enough time to search anything. That's why we're lucky to have 38 talismans. We hit the jackpot with our starting supplies. Su Qingli leaned against the railing, her gaze fixed on a billboard across the street, voice level and calm. Even with 38 talismans, we'll only stumble across ghouls by blind luck if we're following the wrong lead. When Wantong pushed her glasses up her nose, her mind racing to piece together new theories. Could our entire line of thinking be wrong? Ghosts only come out at night, right? Maybe ghouls are the same. They hide during daylight and hunt humans after dark. Chen Lu tilted her head to ponder. That's logical. If ghouls feed on humans, daytime would not be their primary hunting window. Nighttime is when prey is easiest to ambush. When Wantong nodded in approval. Should we wait until night to search? Chen Lu glanced at the sky. It was still morning, at least 7 or 8 hours until sunset. We can wait for nightfall, but we can't waste these 7 hours. If we've found nothing wandering the streets, we need a new plan. Su Qingli tore her gaze from the billboard and turned to Lin Mu. What new plan? Chen Lu blinked in confusion. Su Qingli was about to elaborate when Lin Mu's attention snagged on two men walking past them. Both wore dark suits, their collars unbuttoned to reveal dense, sprawling tattoos covering their necks and backs of their hands. These were not tiny, delicate designs, but large, vivid traditional Japanese irizumi tattoos stretching from their wrists down beneath their shirt collars. Black ink lines etched even across their knuckles. The two men chatted quietly as they walked, a stark contrast to the rushing office workers all around them. Yakuza, when Wantong spotted the pair and lowered her voice. Japanese gangsters? Chun Lu's eyes widened, and she instinctively edged closer to Lin Mu. Lin Mu nodded, his gaze fixed on the men's retreating backs. You're not thinking of? Su Qingli raised an eyebrow, reading Lin Mu's expression. Ghouls hide among humans and even prey on them. If a man-eating monster lurks in a city, human society can't possibly remain completely oblivious. Lin Mu tore his eyes away from the two Yakuza and turned to the three women. You mean we should ask the gangsters? Chen Lu's eyes stretched even wider. Not necessarily just gangsters, but someone with ties to the underground. Ordinary people might never glimpse the dark side of this world their whole lives, but gangsters are different. They dwell in the shadows themselves. If ghouls truly exist, they must have heard whispers of them. When Wantong pushed up her glasses, already following Lin Mu's line of reasoning. That makes sense. Yakuza clans run their own intelligence networks. If people keep vanishing or strange incidents happen in the city, they'll find out far sooner than regular civilians. Su Qingli agreed with a nod. Then what are we waiting for? Let's follow those tattooed guys. Chen Lu hopped off the railing, all her earlier weariness vanishing in an instant. The four trailed the two Yakuza through the winding streets of Shinjuku. The tattooed men were completely unaware they were being followed. They smoked as they strolled, pausing now and then to greet shop owners, clearly well known around the area. After roughly 10 minutes, they turned into a quiet, narrow alley. The passage was too slim for two cars to pass side by side, littered with cigarette butts and empty cans. This is the spot, Lin Mu murmured to the three women, then quickened his pace. The two Yakuza heard footsteps behind them and spun around instinctively. They saw a young man flanked by three beautiful young women. Before they could utter a word, Lin Mu struck. He drove a fist hard into the first man's stomach. The man let out a muffled groan, folded over like a shrimp, his legs buckling as he crashed to his knees. The second man reacted faster, reaching for his waist, but his hand never touched his weapon before Lin Mu's palm slammed into his face. The man spun on his heels and crumpled to the pavement with a heavy thud. The entire altercation lasted less than 3 seconds from Lin Mu's first blow to both men collapsing. Chen Lu stood frozen behind them, her mouth hanging open in a perfect O shape. She'd watched Lin Mu fight before, yet that overwhelming display of brute force still sent her heart racing. When Wantong remained calm, while Su Qingli leaned against the alley wall with her arms crossed, utterly unconcerned, Lin Mu knelt down, grabbed the scarred man by the collar, and hauled him to his feet. I don't want to hurt you, but people like you never listen to polite words. Answer a few questions, and I won't make things difficult for you. Lin Mu's tone was calm, as if chatting with an old friend. The scarred man clutched his stomach, his face ashen, yet vicious fury still lingered in his eyes. Do you have any idea who you've crossed? We're from the Matsumoto clan. This is our territory. Cause trouble here, and you'll never make it out of Shinjuku alive. The Matsumoto clan. Perfect. I need to see your boss. Lead the way. Lin Mu repeated the clan name, his expression unchanged. The scarred man stared in shock, clearly not expecting that response. You want our clan leader? Who the hell are you? Which clan are you from? The Tada clan? The Shirakawa syndicate? His gaze turned wary and confused. Neither. I'm just an outsider here to ask your boss a few questions. Just take me to him. Lin Mu released his grip on the man's collar and stepped back. The scarred man glanced at Lin Mu, then the three women standing at the alley entrance, hesitation flickering across his face. The stockier Yakuza beside him clambered to his feet, cradling his swollen cheek. Should we take him? He whispered to the scarred man. The scarred man fell silent for several seconds, then gritted his teeth. Fine, I'll take you. But you'd better be telling the truth about just asking questions. If you pull any tricks, our boss will destroy you. He picked up his suit jacket, which Lin Mu had knocked to the ground, brushed off the dust, and slipped it back on. After you, Lin Mu expressed politely. The scarred man took a deep breath and headed deeper into the alley. The stocky man followed, constantly glancing back at Lin Mu's group with unmasked caution. The four trailed the two Yakuza through a maze of side streets and turns, finally stopping outside a two-story building. It looked indistinguishable from the surrounding structures, save for a plaque emblazoned with Matsumoto Clan hanging by the front door. "We're here. The boss is upstairs on the second floor. Wait here while I go announce you." The scarred man turned to Lin Mu. "No need to announce me. We'll go up together." Lin Mu shook his head, his tone leaving no room for argument. The scarred man's face darkened, yet he dared not protest. He pushed open the office door. The moment the door creaked open, Lin Mu froze. The second eye of truth, talisman stuck to his skin, let him clearly see a thick, oppressive black aura shrouding the second floor. The aura stirred instinctive revulsion and dread, the stench of a ghost. A ghoul. Lin Mu was certain a ghoul lurked upstairs. He'd only come to question the Yakuza, yet the monster was hiding right inside their headquarters. Upon reflection, though, the Yakuza made the perfect disguise for a ghoul. "What's wrong?" When Wantong caught the shift in his expression and whispered, "Something's upstairs." Lin Mu spoke, so quietly only the three women beside him could hear. All three glanced toward the second floor, but without protective talismans, they saw nothing. "Senior, you mean?" Chen Lu's voice trembled slightly. That's it. Wait for me down here. Teacher Wen, keep them safe." Lin Mu nodded to the girls. "Be careful." When Wantong did not offer to follow him upstairs, she knew full well she would only be a burden if danger struck. "Please stay safe, Senior," Chen Lu urged anxiously. Su Qingli said nothing, merely watched Lin Mu and gave a faint nod. Her eyes held worry, but more than that, quiet trust. Lin Mu turned and followed the two Yakuza into the office. The first floor held a small reception area furnished with sofas and a low tea table, the Matsumoto clan crest mounted on the wall. Two young men in black suits sat drinking tea inside. When they spotted the scarred man bringing Lin Mu in, they looked thoroughly confused. "Who's this?" One of the youths stood up. "A guest here to see the clan leader." The scarred man's voice was stiff. He dared not speak out of turn in front of Lin Mu. The young man sized Lin Mu up, frowned, but asked no further questions, jerking his chin toward the staircase. "The boss is upstairs. Take him up." The scarred man nodded and led Lin Mu toward the second floor. The wooden steps creaked underfoot, the sound echoing sharply through the quiet stairwell. As Lin Mu climbed higher, the black ghostly aura grew denser and thicker. They reached the door to the second floor office. "Boss, we have a visitor." The scarred man rapped his knuckles against the wood. "Enter." A deep, gravelly voice answered after 2 seconds of silence. The scarred man bowed respectfully, pushed the door open, and stepped aside. A traditional Japanese-style room unfolded before Lin Mu's eyes. Tatami mats covered the floor, a black desk sat in the corner, and a calligraphy scroll bearing a single bold character, Kawami Extreme, hanging on the wall. A man knelt formally in the center of the room. He appeared around 30, dressed in a dark gray kimono. Aside from his sharp gaze, he looked like an ordinary middle-aged Japanese man. But through Lin Mu's eye of truth, the man's entire body was wrapped in thick, tangible black, ghostly energy that swirled slowly across his skin. His seemingly normal face hid a horrific visage beneath the aura. Ashen pale skin, blood-red eyes, and jagged, unmissable fangs. A ghoul. The leader of the Matsumoto clan was the ghoul. It was hardly a surprising revelation. "You sought me out for what purpose?" The clan leader stared at Lin Mu with unbridled wariness, ghostly energy surging subtly around his body. "I originally came here to ask you some questions," Lin Mu said casually, as if chatting with an acquaintance. "What about?" The leader leaned forward slightly, his muscles coiling tight beneath his kimono. "That's no longer necessary." Lin Mu shook his head. "What do you mean?" The clan leader's brows furrowed, the crimson glow in his eyes blazing brighter. "Because the thing I'm looking for is right here." Before the words finished echoing, Lin Mu moved. He raised his right palm toward the clan leader, channeling his mental power to its absolute peak. Air violently swirled, compressed, and spun above his outstretched hand. Air cannon. A visible shockwave of air blasted forth from Lin Mu's palm. But the clan leader was no ordinary human. The instant he sensed mortal danger, thick black mist enveloped his whole body. His kimono tore apart under the surging ghost energy, his fingernails lengthening into razor-sharp claws, and he split his jaws wide to reveal rows of jagged fangs. The ghoul fully unleashed its monstrous form. Even so, Lin Mu's attack struck far too fast. The entire motion, raising his palm to firing the blast, took no more than the blink of an eye. The clan leader threw his weight sideways at the last second, yet the air cannon slammed dead on into his left torso. Boom! The immense force sent the ghoul flying backward, crashing through the wooden wall behind him before slamming hard into a load-bearing pillar, where he finally skidded to a halt. Dust billowed, splinters flying everywhere. The scarred man had been thrown to the ground by the shockwave, his ears ringing, his vision blurring. When he struggled to lift his head, he witnessed a sight he would never forget. The gang boss he'd served loyally for 5 years, the man he'd only thought ruthlessly violent, half crouched in the corner of the room in an inhuman state. Half his body was gone, gray-black flesh strewn across the floor, reeking of a nauseating rot. Yet somehow he still lived. His remaining right arm braced against the wreckage as he tried to push himself upright, black ghost energy writhing madly around his mangled wounds in a desperate attempt to regenerate his destroyed tissue. Monster! A ghost! A distorted scream tore from the scarred man's throat, and he scrambled backward toward the door on all fours. The clan leader ignored him, his slitted pupils locked furiously onto Lin Mu, murderous rage boiling in his gaze. He'd lived in this city for countless years, hiding his man-eating nature behind the mask of a Yakuza boss, never once suspected. Now this unknown young man had attacked him less than 10 seconds after walking through the door. "You're asking to die." The ghoul let out an inhuman roar. Lin Mu wasted no time trading insults and charged straight at him. Crash! A fist fueled by 59 strength slammed full force into the ghoul's head, driving it deep into the tatami floor. The monster still thrashed, slashing deep gouges into the ground with its wild claws, its broken body twisting violently. Lin Mu raised his fist again, striking once more. Crash! 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 Blow after blow, each delivered with his full strength. The ghoul's skull crumpled and deformed under Lin Mu's relentless punches. Yet ghouls possessed unbelievable vitality. Even with most of its skull shattered, its body continued to spasm and struggle. Lin Mu frowned, reached into the grid of his backpack, and pulled free a machete. Cold light glinted off its blade. He gripped the hilt with both hands, lined the edge up against the ghoul's remaining neck, and brought the blade down hard. Snick! One clean strike. The head separated completely from the torso. The ghoul's body twitched a final time, then fell motionless. Ghoul slain. Experience gained, 100 unsettled. Most of the black, ghost energy pouring out of its corpse dissipated into the air. A small portion, however, failed to disperse, slowly contracting and condensing above the body. In the end, the aura compacted into a black bead the size of a fingernail, clattering softly onto the tatami mats. At the same time, faint silhouettes of standard resources, timber and iron ingots, materialized above the ghoul's corpse. Lin Mu picked up the black bead, and a system prompt instantly appeared before him. Ghost Aura Condensation Orb, formed from concentrated ghost energy after a ghoul's death. Grants 1 point of Ghost Aura upon use. Consume 1 Ghost Aura to activate Ghost Aura Blessing. All stats boosted by 50 for 1 minute. Consumed Ghost Aura requires 24 hours to regenerate. Lin Mu's eyes widened slightly. A 50% boost to all attributes. His current stats stood at Strength 59, Agility 44, Constitution 25, Spirit 58. With a 50 amplification, his stats would jump to Strength 88.5, Agility 66, Constitution 37.5, Spirit 87. This buff far outstripped any stat card critical boost he'd ever gotten. The only downside, one orb yielded just 1 Ghost Aura point, enough for a single 1-minute blessing. But what if he landed a critical drop, and he'd only killed 1 ghoul to earn this orb? Imagine what rewards awaited him if he hunted more. Lin Mu's heart raced with excitement. Before he could ponder further, loud commotion erupted downstairs, stirred by the sounds of the brutal fight above. Shouted Japanese curses mixed with Chun Lu's panicked cries. Bang! Bang! Followed by the crack of air guns firing. Lin Mu spun and sprinted for the doorway, stepping over the scarred man who'd fainted from terror. He rushed to the stairwell and leaned over to glance down. The sight below calmed his racing heart. In the lobby on the first floor, Su Qingli had drawn her sword, standing guard in front of Chun Lu. When Wantong held her fingers shaped like a pistol, the 2 suited men who'd been drinking tea lay motionless on the floor, their heads blown apart, clearly felled by her air gun technique. Senior, Chun Lu spotted Lin Mu upstairs first. Are you okay? Did you get hurt? Did that ghoul attack you? All that noise up there scared me half to death. Chun Lu scrambled up the stairs and threw herself into Lin Mu's arms, speaking in a rush. I'm fine. It's dealt with. Lin Mu patted the top of her head to soothe her. When Wantong climbed the stairs next, scanning Lin Mu's body thoroughly for blood or wounds before relaxing her tense posture. You finished it? Su Qingli sheathed her sword and joined them, asking quietly. All done, Linmu nodded. What tier was it? She pressed. Weaker in strength than the zombie lord, but faster in agility. Overall, roughly equal to the zombie lord's tier, Linmu answered after a moment's thought. Su Qingli nodded, filing the information away in her mind. When Wantong pushed up her glasses, her gaze drifting to the shattered wooden wall. We made a huge racket. Someone might call the police. We need to leave quickly. Come inside first. Linmu turned and walked back into the clan leader's office. The three women followed him in. Chen Lu caught one glimpse of the mangled black flesh strewn across the floor and quickly averted her eyes, her face draining of color. Don't look. When Wantong covered her eyes with a hand and guided her a step away, Su Qingli remained unfazed, her gaze sweeping calmly across the room before settling on the ghoul's corpse. This is a ghoul. The Matsumoto clan's leader. He disguised himself as a Yakuza boss to hide his habit of hunting humans for food, Linmu confirmed. A man-eating monster hiding within a violent criminal syndicate, truly the perfect cover, Su Qingli murmured with a small nod. At that moment, the system panel flickered to life for all of them. Bond target favorability increase notification. When Wantong favorability +2, current favorability 47. Chen Lu favorability +2, current favorability 40. Su Qingli favorability +2, current favorability 17. Neither Linmu nor the three women reacted to the alert. They'd long grown accustomed to their favorability scores rising periodically. On a normal day, they might tease each other about it. But with urgent business at hand, all their focus stayed fixed on the task ahead. Let's collect the supplies first. Wantong held out her hand to Linmu naturally. Linmu laced his fingers with hers to gather the materials. Collected, lumber ×10. Affection critical hit triggered. Current bonded contact, 1 Wantong. Affection value, 47. Random critical multiplier, ×15. Acquired bonus, lumber ×150. Collected, iron ingots ×8. Affection critical hit triggered. Random critical multiplier, ×17. Acquired bonus, iron ingots ×136. 10 lumber and 8 iron ingots. The difficulty's risen, so we get more resources now. Wantong glanced at the system prompt and remarked. Next, the uncalculated experience points from the recent fight triggered a critical multiplier. EXP critical hit activated. Current bonded contact, 1 Wantong. Affection value, 47. Random critical multiplier, ×10. Base EXP gained, 100. EXP after critical hit, 1000. Player level up. LV.9, LV.10. Level reward. All stats +2. Current level, LV.10. Strength, 5961. Agility, 4446. Constitution, 2527. Spirit, 5860. You hit level 10. All your stats went up another 2 points. Senior, your stat sheet is absolutely broken. Chen Lu marveled, even though she'd gushed over his power countless times already. It really is absurdly strong. Not that I'm complaining. Su Qingli's gaze lingered on Linmu's stat panel for a moment. Do you like it, Sister Su? I do too. Chen Lu blinked, her tone laced with teasing mischief. Su Qingli shot her a glance, but said nothing in reply. All right, let's drop that topic. Linmu cut off their playful banter timely. He held out his palm to reveal a black bead. Take a look at this. Linmu pulled up its system description for everyone to see. Ghost Chi Condensation Orb, a tangible mass of condensed ghost energy left behind after a ghoul is slain. Upon use, grants 1 permanent ghost chi point. Spend 1 ghost chi to activate ghost chi blessing. All stats boosted by 50 for 1 minute. Consumed ghost chi requires 24 hours to fully regenerate. A 50% boost to every stat? Let me do the math fast. Your strength 61 right now, so boosted it hits 91.5. Agility 46 becomes 69. Constitution 27 hits 40.5. Spirit 60 jumps to 90. Chen Lu rattled off the calculations instantly. It only lasts a single minute, but that burst of damage can turn the tide of any fight at a crucial moment. Wantong's eyes glinted as she ran through tactical scenarios. And what if you land a critical hit while buffed? Su Qingli added. Linmu nodded and curled his fingers around the orb. Let's test it. Wantong's hand was still clasped in his, so he activated the Ghost Chi Condensation Orb without letting go. Use Ghost Chi Condensation Orb? Yes/no. He selected yes. Consumed. Ghost Chi Condensation Orb ×1 base acquired. Ghost Chi ×1 affection critical hit triggered current bonded contact. 1 Wantong. Affection value. 47 random critical multiplier. ×23 bonus acquired. Ghost Chi ×23. A frigid surge of power flooded his palm, snaking up his arm and spreading through every inch of his body. It was nothing like the expanding warmth of mental energy or the full, solid sensation of raised base stats. This cold energy felt far more sinister, as if something foreign was rooting itself deep within his flesh. Linmu shuddered instinctively. A brand new line of text materialized beneath his base stats on the system panel. Ghost Chi Reserves, 23 Ghost Chi points total. That means you can keep Ghost Chi Blessing active for 23 whole minutes straight. A 50% stat boost for that long is basically a permanent combat buff now. Chunlu leaned in close to stare at the panel, her eyes shining brightly with excitement. Even so, 23 minutes total per day is still rather limited if we treat it as a regular ability. Su Qingli shook her head. If 23 isn't enough, we'll just get more. Linmu clenched his fist, feeling the icy energy circulate inside him. Exactly. Hunt down more ghouls to farm extra orbs. Chunlu bounced on her heels, eager to jump back into combat. Agreed. We need plenty more Ghost Chi condensation orbs, not just for me, but for the rest of you too. Linmu glanced over at Chunlu. Me? Chunlu blinked in surprise. Your affection values already hit 40, unlocking the critical gift mechanic just like mine. You get one free critical multiplier proc each day. Wonton caught onto Linmu's plan and nodded. Shouldn't we save the orbs for Teacher 1 first? You haven't used your daily critical gift yet today. A 50% spirit boost would push your 51 spirit up to 75.5. Your air bullet skill would basically turn into an air machine gun. Chunlu shuddered just imagining the destructive firepower. We'll all get our share. Your affection meters will hit 40 sooner or later, and everyone needs the means to defend themselves. These orbs are too valuable to pass up. We should stockpile as many as we can while we've got the chance. Linmu stated plainly. The only person in the group whose affection value hadn't hit 40 yet was the big celebrity, Su Qingli. Still, she nodded in quiet agreement, silently acknowledging her bond with Linmu would reach that threshold eventually. We shouldn't linger here. Let's leave first, Linmu said. The three women nodded in unison. The four of them hurried downstairs and stepped out through the front doors of the Matsumoto Group office. The streets outside remained eerily quiet. Faint chatter and bustle drifted over from the bustling downtown Shinjuku district far off in the distance, a stark contrast to the wrecked, blood-stained office building they'd just left behind. Linmu had only walked 20 steps before he froze mid-stride. A group of people rounded the corner of the alley, heading straight toward them. Two familiar men led the pack, Zhao Tai, dressed in a black windbreaker, and Qian Dimeo with his prominent beer belly. A dozen more people trailed behind them, every survivor from the 4 trains they'd seen on the platform earlier. The large group stood out conspicuously in this narrow, quiet back alley. Members of the family vessel, we meet again, Zhao Tai greeted them first. MHM. Linmu gave a short, wordless nod. Qian Dimeo clearly disliked his terse response. We've uncovered solid leads on the ghouls, Qian Dimeo boasted, chest puffed out with pride. What leads? Linmu asked. Zhao Tai shot Qian Dimeo a glance. Seeing he had no intention of elaborating, he spoke up instead. We've looked into all the missing person cases around Shinjuku from the past few days. Missing people? Chunlu cut in, curious. Ghouls feed on humans, they can't hunt without leaving some trace. No matter how well they hide, a string of disappearances will always leave clues. Zhao Tai's tone was firm and confident. We cross-referenced all the case files and found every victim was last seen in this exact neighborhood. Qian Dimeo jumped back into the conversation, tapping the pavement beneath his feet to emphasize his point. So we followed the trail all the way here and narrowed our target down to the Matsumoto Group. Zhao Tai's gaze locked onto Linmu, edged with cautious probing. If that's the case, you're too late. Chunlu chimed in, a hint of smug satisfaction in her voice. What do you mean? A bad premonition washed over Zhao Tai. Senior already took care of the ghoul for good. Chunlu said triumphantly. Silence fell over the alley for a heartbeat. Impossible. We spent days digging up clues just to find this location. How could you finish it before us? Qian Dimeo's voice shot up an octave in shock and frustration. We got lucky. We ran into 2 Matsumoto Group lackeys and tailed them straight to this office. Wantong interjected smoothly, her tone calm and gentle. The ghoul's truly dead. Zhao Tai's expression turned complicated as he stared Linmu down for several long seconds. It's dealt with, Linmu replied flatly, no extra detail. Zhao Tai fell silent. Qian Dimeo's face darkened even further. They'd spent hours interrogating informants, threatening and bargaining for intel, only to track the ghoul to this building. Yet Lin Mu's group had wrapped everything up purely by luck. Zhao Tai's mood soured too, though he kept his temper far better in check than Qian Dimeo. Might I ask how powerful that ghoul was? We'd like a frame of reference for future encounters, Zhao Tai requested politely. Roughly on par with a zombie lord. Lin Mu thought for a second and gave an objective comparison. A zombie lord? Zhao Tai frowned, having never faced such a monster before. A mini-boss we fought at our first station, Lin Mu explained casually. Murmurs erupted among the survivors from the 4 trains. There was a boss monster at the first station? We never ran into one. Thank God we didn't. That would have been deadly. Didn't you hear? That ghoul was just as strong as that boss. No worries, we've got numbers on our side this time. Zhao Tai's eyes lingered on Lin Mu longer than before. He was growing increasingly aware of how overwhelmingly powerful the family vessel group was. No wonder they carried themselves with such unshakable confidence. Congratulations on your victory, then. Zhao Tai sighed deeply and clasped his hands in a gesture of respect. Likewise, Lin Mu nodded, turning to walk away without lingering any longer. Wait a moment. Zhao Tai called after them, his expression hesitant. May I ask what the family vessel group plans to do next? Will you return to your train and wait out the remaining station time? Or? He left the question hanging, but his meaning was clear. Their core mission was already completed. They could play it safe and hide on the train for the next 48 hours, or continue exploring this monster-infested district. Every eye in the crowd swiveled toward Lin Mu, waiting for his answer. Lin Mu didn't slow his pace at all. Chen Lu, walking beside him, answered in his stead. Obviously, we're going to keep hunting ghouls. We came all this way. Killing just one is a waste. Her words instantly sparked outrage among the train survivors. You already finished your mission, and you still want to hunt more? A young man in a delivery rider uniform shouted out. Exactly. Every ghoul you kill leaves fewer for the rest of us to find. We haven't even completed our own mission yet. Aren't you stealing our targets? Right? Our 4 teams still need 4 more ghoul kills total to finish our objectives. You already checked off your mission, and now you're hogging all the monsters. That's just plain unfair. Qian Dimeo's face turned ugly. If Lin Mu's group kept hunting, their odds of locating any remaining ghouls would plummet. Family vessel crew, this isn't right. Qian Dimeo's voice dropped to a menacing growl, his right hand curling into a tight fist unconsciously. Lin Mu couldn't be bothered to engage with them, simply walking forward with his back turned to the crowd. Only one Wantong spun around, pushing her glasses up the bridge of her nose as her quiet gaze swept slowly over every person present. The crowd fell silent at once. Dressed in a figure-hugging pencil skirt and crisp white blouse, she cut a stunningly attractive figure, but not a single person dared meet her eyes. Everyone feared a single glance would trigger her air bullet skill, blowing their heads apart instantly. Even Qian Dimeo calmed down, swallowing his anger. After a brief pause, Wan Wantong turned and hurried to catch up with Lin Mu. The 4 of them walked far down the alley and out of sight. Forget it. We'll pick back up on our other leads. We had multiple clues pointing to separate locations before. Let's go investigate those sites. Zhao Tai made a quick decision. Meanwhile, Lin Mu and the 3 women had reached Shinjuku's main thoroughfare. Senior, where do we track down more ghouls next? Chen Lu asked. I've got a lead. Lin Mu kept walking without breaking stride. What led? When did you find that out? Chen Lu's eyes went wide with curiosity. Wan Wantong and Su Qingli also looked to him, equally confused. I've absorbed ghost qi into my body now, Lin Mu explained. Having ghost qi, so what? Chen Lu tilted her head, thoroughly confused. Once you possess ghost qi, you don't need true sight to sense faint traces of other ghoul energy around you. It's like a natural resonance between the energy. Lin Mu chose his words carefully. Does that make you a living ghoul detector now? Chen Lu's face lit up with excitement. Something close, but there's more, Lin Mu continued. When I activate true sight, I can see far more details. Thin streams of ghost qi drift through the air. Lin Mu lifted a finger to gesture down the street ahead. The 3 women followed the direction of his hand, but without true sight, they saw nothing at all. Their faint trails, converging from all directions and stretching off toward other spots. Lin Mu's gaze tracked the invisible wisps no ordinary human could perceive. Those are residual energy left behind by ghouls as they move. Su Qingli caught onto his meaning immediately. Exactly. If we follow these trails, we'll find every ghoul nearby, Lin Mu nodded. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go? I can already picture piles of ghost qi condensation orbs waiting for us. Chen Lu bounced eagerly. Lin Mu took the lead, his eyes fixed on the faint black threads weaving through the air. The ghoul energy trails were far clearer than he'd expected, like faint brushstrokes of black ink painted mid-air. They faded gradually over time, but remained distinct enough to track within a short window after the monster passed by. The four walked down the main road for roughly 15 minutes. The towering skyscrapers of downtown gave way to low-rise residential housing blocks. The streets narrowed, and foot traffic thinned out entirely. Luxury brand shops were replaced by tiny convenience stores and hole-in-the-wall izakayas. Graffiti covered the walls, and utility poles were plastered with flyers and advertisements. This looks like a residential neighborhood. Chen-Lu craned her neck to glance left and right, her twin ponytails swaying with every movement. It makes sense for ghouls to hide in residential areas. They blend in with ordinary humans by day and hunt at night. Su Qingli's eyes scanned the rows of apartment buildings lining the road. Plus, disappearances fly under the radar here. Elderly people living alone or office workers pulling overtime shifts could vanish for days without anyone noticing. Wan Wantong pushed her glasses up and analyzed logically. "We're here." Lin Mu suddenly halted. The three women followed his line of sight to a weathered 3-story old apartment complex standing before them. In there, Chen-Lu crept up beside Lin Mu, lowering her voice to a whisper as if afraid to alert whatever lurked inside. "The energy trail ends right at this building." Lin Mu's gaze drifted upward from the pavement, settling on the far right window on the 3rd floor. Thick curtains covered the glass, hiding the room's interior, but Lin Mu could both feel and see thick black ghost chi leaking out from behind the fabric. "I'll go check it out," Lin Mu said. "You always run off alone while we wait uselessly down here. It feels like we're dead weight." Chen-Lu tugged at the sleeve of his jacket. "If you want to go up instead, I can let you take the lead." Lin Mu glanced at her. No. You go, senior. You're the expert. I'll stay down here and cheer you on." Chen-Lu instantly let go of his sleeve. "If you want to help out, get stronger faster." Lin Mu patted the top of her head gently. "Got it. I'll train hard to get stronger." Chen-Lu covered her head with both hands. Wan Wantong stepped forward with a soft smile, straightening the wrinkles out of Lin Mu's clothes naturally, like a wife seeing her husband off to battle. "Be careful. Retreat immediately if things turn dangerous," Wan Wantong cautioned him. Lin Mu nodded. Su Qingli closed her eyes and whispered the name of her skill, Wind Listener. The sound of the wind sharpened into crystal-clear sensory input, letting her pick up every small noise inside the apartment building. Movement in the far-right 3rd-floor unit. Something's eating inside. "I can't confirm if it's a ghoul yet." Su Qingli shared the intel she'd gathered. Lin Mu nodded and climbed the stairwell to the 3rd floor. He stopped outside the door at the far end of the hallway. Silence hung heavy inside the unit. But both the ghost chi resonance and his true sight confirmed a ghoul waited within. Lin Mu raised his right leg. Boom. His 61 points of strength sent the entire wooden door flying off its hinges. The panel crashed hard into the living room coffee table, shattering the glass top with an ear-splitting crack. Lin Mu charged into the apartment, a machete already gripped tight in his hand. No lights burned inside. The curtains were drawn shut tight, only faint light spilling in through the doorway to barely outline the living room furniture. It was a standard single-person apartment layout. A man around 30 years old sat at the dining table, mid-meal. His food was a severed human arm. Damn it. The sound of the door being smashed in alerted the ghoul to Lin Mu's hostile intent. It launched straight off its chair, lunging toward him in a single explosive movement. Lin Mu sidestepped its charge and swung his machete in a horizontal slash. The ghoul twisted its body mid-air to dodge the blade, but the sharp edge still sliced a deep gash across its forearm. Grayish-black blood dripped from the wound as it fixed Lin Mu with a feral glare, a raspy, hoarse voice rumbling in its throat. "Human, how did you track me down here?" Lin Mu said nothing. His eyes swept rapidly over the ghoul's body, sizing up its strength. It was faster than the zombie lord, with roughly 30 points of agility, yet its strength and constitution were noticeably inferior. With such stat distribution, if Lin Mu still possessed the stats he'd had the moment he stepped off the train at the first station, this would have turned into a brutal uphill fight. Now, however, his strength sat at 61 and agility at 46, and that was without channeling ghost chi to buff all his attributes. He outmatched it completely. "You're no ordinary human. I sense ghost chi clinging to you, yet you are not a ghost." Confusion laced the ghoul's voice. Ghost chi resonated between their bodies, letting the monster detect the spectral energy emanating from Lin Mu. "Ghost chi? I just stole it," Lin Mu replied casually. "Stolen?" The ghoul was baffled. It had never heard of anyone seizing ghost chi from another. "I killed the leader of the Matsumoto group a moment ago. His ghost chi is mine now," Lin Mu stated as if it were common sense. Yamada-san? You killed Yamada-san? Though the ghoul could not fathom how Lin Mu had robbed the ghost Chi, it realized one of its kin was dead. So his name is Yamada. You'll join him soon enough, Lin Mu said flatly. Insolent brat. The ghoul let out a shrill roar and launched itself into the air once more. This time, it did not charge head-on. Mid-leap, it twisted sharply, pushed off the ceiling with its legs, and dropped straight down from above Lin Mu, hanging upside down to pounce. Lin Mu's gaze sharpened. This ghoul possessed far greater battle intelligence than the zombie lord. He stepped back and swung his machete upward. The ghoul's razor-sharp claws clashed against the blade, ringing with the clear clang of metal striking metal. The massive impact sent a slight jolt up Lin Mu's arm, yet his 61 points of strength absorbed the blow effortlessly. Then Lin Mu surged with force, hurling the ghoul away along with his blade. Boom! The ghoul's body crashed hard into the wall, blowing a crater open to expose bare concrete beneath the plaster. Still, it scrambled back to its feet in an instant, scarlet eyes blazing with ferocity as it fixed its glare on Lin Mu. Your strength is impressive, but your combat experience is pitifully thin. The second the ghoul finished speaking, it snatched a half-eaten human arm and hurled it straight at Lin Mu. Lin Mu dodged instinctively to the side. In that split second, the ghoul lunged from another angle, claws aimed straight for his throat. Its speed was lightning fast, its timing perfectly calculated. But Lin Mu boasted 46 agility points. He reacted the exact instant the ghoul closed in, slicing horizontally with his blade. Squelch! The edge bit deep into the ghoul's abdomen, carving a bone-deep gash that stretched all the way to its chest. Gray-black blood gushed forth as the monster screamed and crashed heavily to the wooden floor. Its claws flailed wildly, gouging deep ruts into the planks. Lin Mu gave it no chance to recover, driving his blade down into its neck. Crack! The ghoul's head rolled across the floor. Its body twitched a few times before falling utterly still. Ghoul slain. Experience gained. 100 unsettled. Wispy gray-black ghost chi billowed out of the corpse. Part of it dissipated into the air, while the rest condensed into a familiar black orb that clattered onto the floorboards. Lin Mu bent to pick it up and glanced at his status panel. Ghost chi condensation, orb ×1. He stowed the orb, turned, and walked out of the room, calling down the corridor on the 3rd floor. Come up. It's dealt with. Footsteps echoed from below, and the 3 girls soon appeared at the stairwell. Senior, are you all right? I heard a huge racket just now. Chen Lu sprinted up first, her twin ponytails flying as she fretted over him. I'm fine. Lin Mu stepped aside to reveal the bloodied wreckage inside the room. Ugh, not this again. I hate seeing scenes like this. Chen Lu averted her eyes the moment she caught a glimpse. Then don't look. Wan Wantong patted her shoulder. Her gaze then swept over Lin Mu from head to toe. Only after confirming there was no blood or wounds on him did she relax. Su Qingli stood in the doorway, her gaze landing on the half-devoured human arm. Her brows creased faintly. It was feeding, Su Qingli said, her tone calm, yet quieter than usual. Yeah, it was mid-meal when I walked in, Lin Mu nodded. Disgusting brute, Chen Lu said with revulsion. Perhaps, but from its perspective, Lin Mu is the arrogant one, Su Qingli said, glancing at him. Let's claim our loot first. Lin Mu steered the conversation back on track. Wan Wantong held out her hand naturally, and Lin Mu grasped it. Loot acquired, lumber ×12. Favorable opinion critical triggered. Current bonded target. Wan Wantong, favorability, 47. Critical multiplier this time, 12x random. Gained, lumber ×144. Loot acquired, iron chunks ×10. Favorable opinion critical triggered. Critical multiplier this time, 18x random. Gained, iron chunks ×180. After gathering supplies, they settled their pending experience points. Experience critical triggered. Current bonded target, Wan Wantong, favorability, 47. Critical multiplier this time, 13x random. Base experience, 100. Experience after critical hit, 1300. Player level upgraded. LV.10 LV.11. Level up reward. All attributes +3. Current level, LV.11. Strength, 6164. Agility, 4649. Constitution, 2730. Spirit, 6063. 3 points. It only gave 2 before. Chen Lu leaned in to stare at the panel, eyes blown wide. It seems attribute points per level rise after level 10, jumping from 2 to 3. Wan Wantong analyzed, studying the numbers. Will it go up to 4 once we hit level 20? Chen Lu counted on her fingers. That's far too far ahead to speculate. One thing's certain, though, the higher our levels grow, the wider the stat gap will become. That works to our advantage, Su Qingli cut in. Lin Mu checked his stats: 64 strength, 49 agility, 30 constitution, 63 spirit. Compared to his first day in this world, he existed on an entirely different tier of power. Yet it was still not enough. Lin Mu used the Ghost Chi Condensation Orb he'd just obtained. Item used: Ghost Chi Condensation Orb ×1. Favorable opinion critical triggered. Current bonded target: 1 Wantong. Favorability: 47. Critical multiplier this time: 25x random. Gained: Ghost Chi ×25. The Ghost Chi value on his panel flickered upward. Ghost Chi: 2348. 25 Ghost Chi. Added to our original 23, we've got 48 now. 48 full minutes of universal stat buffs. Senior, you could practically stroll around unchallenged. Qianlu finished counting and sighed in genuine awe. Only crabs stroll sideways. Lin Mu shot her a glance. So what if crabs do? Sidestepping domineering. Total power. Qianlu retorted indignantly. Wan Wantong couldn't hold back a laugh, though she quickly composed herself and turned to Lin Mu. Shall we keep tracking the ghouls, or head back to rest first? Keep going. It's still early. We can hunt more while we've got the chance. We can never have too many Ghost Chi orbs, Lin Mu declared firmly. I agree. Our current method of tracking ghouls is extremely efficient. We should make the most of this edge. Su Qingli leaned against the corridor railing and said. The four left the apartment complex, and Lin Mu reactivated his tracking ability. The faint black threads of energy floating in the air had faded further. Ghoul traces dissipated as time passed. Thankfully, Lin Mu's perception had grown far sharper. The wispy trails of Ghost Chi looked like directional arrows to him, guiding them through street after street. 20 minutes of walking later, the scenery shifted entirely. Residential blocks fell away, replaced by a commercial district. Unlike the sleek, upscale shopping districts of Shinjuku, the streets here were narrower, the buildings shorter, and the signage garishly colorful. The neon tubes looked dull gray beneath daylight. Yet Lin Mu could easily picture how the area would blaze with garish lights once night fell. This place reminds me of Kabukicho. Qianlu craned her neck to glance around and voiced her guess. It's a similar entertainment quarter. Every shop here is either a bar, izakaya, or nightclub. Crowded, lawless spots like this make perfect hiding places for ghouls. Wan Wantong's gaze swept over the shuttered storefronts. Lin Mu halted in front of a bar. This is it, he said, standing firm at the entrance. He could clearly sense the Ghost Chi lingering in the air converging here, then branching outward like a river split into countless tributaries. Are there people inside? Wait, ghouls. Qianlu tiptoed up to the metal roll-down shutter, craning to peer inside, yet saw nothing. No humans, at least not right now. But the Ghost Chi here is thick, and it's not from a single monster. Lin Mu shook his head. Not just one. Su Qingli's brows drew together. At minimum 5, possibly more. Their Ghost Chi tangles together. I can't pin down an exact count, but there's definitely more than one. Lin Mu focused on parsing the residual spectral energy. Does that mean this is a ghoul den? Qianlu unconsciously lowered her voice. Or at the very least a gathering spot. They'll converge here once night falls. Wan Wantong's mind raced as she pieced together the clues. Should we wait here until dark? Qianlu blinked. Lying in wait will be far more efficient than racing all over the city hunting them down. Lin Mu nodded. But senior, fighting so many ghouls at once, won't you be in danger? Qianlu fretted. We won't know until we try. Besides, this is the perfect chance to test the Ghost Chi buff state I haven't used yet. Lin Mu spoke without a hint of worry. Let's find somewhere to eat first, Lin Mu suggested. Huh. Qianlu stared blankly. It's ages until sunset. We can't loiter out here the whole time. We've survived on compressed biscuits for 2 days on the train. Aren't you sick of them? Lin Mu glanced at her. Qianlu's eyes lit up like twin tiny stars. Food. Senior, do you mean a real restaurant? Actual hot meals. What else? Eat thin air. Oh my gosh, Senior, you're the coolest guy I've ever met. Hands down. Qianlu nearly jumped for joy, her ponytails swinging in a wild arc. Wan Wantong laughed softly, a flicker of anticipation in her eyes. Even Su Qingli's lips tugged upward in a barely noticeable smile. Wait a second, do we have money? Tokyo uses Japanese yen, right? Qianlu suddenly voiced a realistic concern. No need to worry about that. Wan Wantong pulled a thick stack of 10,000 yen bills from her pocket. The bundle held roughly 100 notes, equaling 1 million yen. Teacher Wan, where did you get all this cash? Did you rob a bank? Qianlu yelped, her voice cracking with shock. I grabbed it back at the Matsumoto Group hideout. The group leader's office had a safe that Lin Mu's air cannon blew open. I stuffed the bills into my inventory on the way out. One stack counts as one inventory unit, and I've got 50 stacks total, not even filling a single slot, one Wantong explained. 50 stacks, that's 5 million yen, around 200,000 RMB. Teacher Wan, you're incredible. You even thought to loot supplies in the middle of a fight. Chen-Lu looked up at her with unbridled admiration. It's simply rational resource management. We're stuck in this world for 48 hours, one Wantong said. We can't live off compressed biscuits the entire time, one Wantong said matter-of-factly. Su Qingli shot one Wantong a glance filled with quiet approval. Let's go. Lin Mu took the lead, heading toward a restaurant on the street corner. He pushed open the door, and warm gusts carrying rich cooking scents washed over them. The restaurant was sparsely populated, only a handful of tables occupied by ordinary office workers and students. An apron-clad server hurried over with a smile and led the four to a window booth. Who's ordering? Lin Mu asked. Me. Chen Lu volunteered instantly. Platter after platter of food soon arrived. Pork cutlet sets, curry rice, ramen, tempura. Chen Lu had ordered an enormous spread. The moment the food hit her taste buds, Chen Lu nearly cried from relief. I haven't had a proper hot meal in 2 days. This is absolutely amazing. Is it really that good? Lin Mu stared at her, speechless. Absolutely. I complained nonstop that Japanese food had no flavor when I visited here on vacation before. But after 2 days of compressed biscuits, I've learned flavor is all about comparison. This is heavenly food next to those dry crackers. Chen Lu shoveled food furiously as she rambled. In stark contrast, Wan Wantong and Su Qingli ate with refined manners. Su Qingli, however, spaced out every few bites, lost in unspoken thoughts. Sister Su, what's on your mind? Chen Lu asked worriedly. Nothing much. I just haven't sat down to eat in a casual restaurant like this in a very long time, Su Qingli said softly. Why not? Chen Lu blinked in confusion. Does that even need asking? She's a celebrity, Lin Mu answered for her, tapping Chen Lu lightly on the top of her head. Right? If Sister Su sat dining out in public, crowds would swarm her for autographs and photos. She'd never get to finish eating. Chen Lu pictured the scene and shuddered at the thought. Every restaurant visit meant renting out the whole venue, booking a private booth, or having my assistant pack takeout home. Su Qingli's tone remained calm, yet a faint, unspoken loneliness lingered beneath her words. That sounds really tough, Chen Lu said sympathetically. But if you love what you do, even the hardships must feel worth it, right? Lin Mu turned to Su Qingli. Exactly. For all the inconveniences, I've never regretted it. I love filming, Su Qingli nodded. The four chatted as they ate, bouncing from ghouls to the train, then to their separate lives before arriving in this world. Sister Su, when you filmed a single sword glinting over 19 prefectures, did you really hang from a wire harness all day? Chen Lu asked curiously. I saw behind-the-scenes footage saying the harness rubbed your waist raw and drew blood. Chen Lu asked curiously. I did. That scene was a cliffside sword fight, and the director demanded a single unbroken take. We filmed 37 shots before getting it right. Su Qingli spoke as if recounting a trivial matter. 37 takes. That must have hurt so badly. Chen Lu gasped. You grow used to it. Filming was never meant to be easy. Su Qingli picked up her water glass and sipped. What about you, Teacher Wan? Is being a university professor relaxing? You get winter and summer breaks, plus weekends off. Chen Lu turned to Wan Wantong. Relaxing? You think teaching only consists of lectures? Lesson planning, grading papers, writing dissertations, research projects. Overtime is constant. Those long vacations sound nice, yet most of them are filled with work obligations. Wan Wantong shook her head. Oh, I always thought university teachers had it easy. Chen Lu blinked. Every line of work carries its own hardships. Wan Wantong smiled. What about you, senior? What kind of student were you back then? Chen Lu's gaze drifted back to Lin Mu. An average one. Lin Mu's answer was far too brief. Average? Be specific. How were your grades? Did you have a girlfriend? What type of girls do you like? Chen Lu fired off a string of questions, eyes sparkling with curiosity. Grades hovered around mid-tier, just enough to avoid failing classes. I played games and read books in my spare time, nothing special. And no, I never had a girlfriend. Lin Mu glanced at her and replied. Seriously? Were you totally invisible at school? Chen Lu looked utterly unconvinced. Not everyone walks into campus and becomes the school beauty like you, Lin Mu countered. Senior, you know I'm the campus beauty? Chen Lu froze, suddenly flustered. The whole school knows. Your fame rivals Teacher Wan's as the pretty professor, Lin Mu said plainly. Ah, that's not important. What matters is that you know. Chen Lu mumbled, giggling to herself. What did you say? Linmu hadn't caught her quiet words. Nothing. I'm the campus beauty. After all, you'd better treat me with more respect from now on. Chen-Lu scrambled to save face. At that exact moment, a new notification popped up on his status panel. Bond target favorability, rise notification. When Wantong favorability +3, current favorability, 50. Chen-Lu favorability +5, current favorability, 45. Su Qingli favorability +5, current favorability, 22. Bond target, when Wantong, has hit 50 favorability. New bond effect unlocked. Shared experience. Shared experience. A portion of experience earned from critical hits can be shared. Lin Mu's original critical hit experience will not be reduced. Bond targets will receive extra supplementary experience separately. The sudden system notification blanketed the cabin in total silence. Chen-Lu nearly spat out the fried shrimp in her mouth. She clamped a hand over her mouth and coughed violently, her eyes watering. Why'd it jump up again? We're just eating. Can meals even raise favorability? Her voice muffled through her fingers. It's probably our conversation. Trust builds naturally as we learn more about each other. It's a totally normal psychological reaction, when Wantong explained. You've used that psychological reaction line several times already. Su Qingli cut her off flatly. When Wantong fell speechless at once. All right, let's check out the new bond skill instead. Lin Mu smoothly shifted the subject. When Wantong looked immensely relieved, she set down her water glass and pulled up her status panel for everyone to examine closely. Shared experience. A portion of experience earned from critical hits can be shared. Lin Mu's original critical hit experience will not be reduced. Bond targets will receive extra supplementary experience separately. So when Senior lands a critical hit later, we each get a cut, and our share is extra. It doesn't take away from yours. Chen-Lu's eyes lit up brightly. That's the gist of it. But only I've unlocked shared experience for now. When Wantong pondered for a moment and replied, you two will have to wait until your favorability thresholds are reached to share experience as well. When Wantong pondered for a moment and replied, no worries, mine's already at 45, I'll hit it soon. Poor Sister Su though, you've still got a ways to go, Chen-Lu said optimistically. I'm in no rush. I'm just curious how much extra experience a portion actually translates to. Su Qingli guessed. Doesn't matter how little it is, I'll take whatever we get. Chen-Lu replied contentedly. The dishes on the table vanished quickly. The four ate their fill, yet hours still remained until nightfall. Where should we head after eating? Chen-Lu stuffed the last piece of sushi in her mouth and mumbled indistinctly. We should stock up on supplies. We'll be stuck on the train for a long time. Compressed biscuits are edible, but they can't be our long-term staple. This world has a complete food supply chain, so we ought to stockpile as much as we can while we have the chance. When Wantong laid out her plan. Shop till we drop. I want soda. An entire crate. No, 10 crates. Chen-Lu shot her hand up to agree immediately. Do you even have the capacity to drink all that? Lin Mu shot her a skeptical glance and teased her. I absolutely can. They won't go bad sitting in backpack storage slots. Besides, it's not just for me. Everyone can have some. Chen-Lu argued confidently. We should stock up on plenty of mineral water too. The train bathroom only produces 10 liters of water daily, barely enough for washing. We need extra drinking water reserves. When Wantong continued. We should keep some compressed biscuits as emergency rations. Better safe than sorry, Su Qingli added. Lin Mu nodded, filing all their suggestions away in his mind. Stockpiling supplies is a good plan, but what about storage space? We each only have 10 backpack slots. Every slot can hold a maximum of 99 identical items. Take the cola Xiao Lu wants. One slot only fits 99 individual bottles. We can't store nearly enough that way. Su Qingli reminded them. I thought about this earlier. Do you all remember how I stored the 50 million yen? When Wantong wore a confident smile. Stacks of cash. Each stack counts as one single unit. Chen-Lu's eyes suddenly lit up as she recalled. Exactly. One stack holds 100 bills, yet only occupies one unit. 50 stacks still don't fill a single slot. If we pack all ingredients into shipping crates, would each crate also count as just one unit? When Wantong nodded. If that's how it works, one slot could hold 99 crates of cola instead of just 99 single bottles. Su Qingli caught on instantly. Perfect. We'll buy everything in bulk crates and bundles. Vegetables, meat, rice, seasonings, max out our storage, Lin Mu agreed. Right? A soda crate has 24 bottles, and one slot fits 99 crates. That's over 2,000 bottles. Enough to last us forever. Chen-Lu nodded vigorously. Is soda the only thing occupying space in your head? Lin Mu sighed and glanced at her helplessly. Of course not. Chips, chocolate, ice cream too. Chen-Lu rattled off her wish list eagerly. There's no refrigerator aboard the train. Su Qingli coolly burst her bubble. We can buy a fridge. We need one to store all the meat we're purchasing anyway. Chen-Lu pointed out the obvious workaround. A fridge is necessary, but by the time we get it running on the train, all the ice cream will have melted completely. Su Qingli conceded her point. Fine then, I'll just grab 2 cartons for myself to eat right away. Chen-Lu abandoned her dream of stockpiling ice cream. The group unanimously agreed to purchase a refrigerator regardless. Lin Mu also remembered the train's crafting system included generators. Once they built one, they'd have power for all appliances. It's a shame we can source regular food here, but not the raw materials needed to upgrade the train, Lin Mu sighed. You mean lumber, iron ingots, and the like? Su Qingli understood his meaning instantly. I tried salvaging metal guardrails and wooden furniture from the streets before, but they only stay classified as guardrails or furniture in my backpack. They can't be converted into the base lumber and iron ingots required for train upgrades. Lin Mu shook his head. Looks like the only way to get upgrade materials is slaying monsters. Makes sense. The game designers wouldn't leave such an obvious exploit open. All right then, we'll hunt more ghouls. They drop lumber and iron too. The more we kill, the more resources we get. Plus we can land critical hits. We'll progress way faster than everyone else. Chen-Lu pouted briefly before bouncing back to high spirits. Exactly. If random wooden and metal items from this world converted straight to upgrade materials, no one would bother fighting monsters at all. Everyone would just loot every piece of lumber and metal lining the streets, Lin Mu said, reaching out to ruffle her hair lightly. Once they finished their discussion, the 4 set off to go shopping. They paid the restaurant bill and stepped onto the street, quickly spotting a large supermarket nearby. The storefront sign was written in Japanese, but its layout and decor mirrored large chain supermarkets back in their original world. Shoppers pushed carts between shelves, and store announcements played over the speakers. Everything felt eerily normal, utterly mundane. Let's get to work. Lin Mu grabbed a shopping cart and strode into the market. Chen-Lu bolted inside first, making a beeline straight for the beverage aisle. Soda, 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 she chanted as she ran, her twin ponytails flying behind her. When Wantong wheeled a second cart and wandered unhurriedly toward the grocery section, scanning shelves while mentally drafting their shopping list. Rice, flour, cooking oil, seasonings, canned goods, assorted vacuum-sealed meats, and fresh vegetables. Daily necessities too, shampoo, body wash, even skincare products. They wandered the supermarket for nearly an hour. By checkout time, the cashier's smile faded into shock, then numb resignation. All their purchases were packed into crates and stowed inside their backpack storage slots. After the supermarket, they headed to a department store to buy refrigerators, picking 20 of the largest capacity models available. Lin Mu would have bought 99, enough to fill an entire backpack slot, if the train had space for that many, and if the store hadn't only stocked 20 units of that model. You even bought game consoles? Lin Mu stared at the items Chen-Lu tucked into her bag, his eyes twitching. The train's so boring. What else am I supposed to do for fun? I grabbed a laptop too. Chen-Lu defended her purchases confidently. You certainly know how to stock up for comfort. Lin Mu shook his head, defeated. Naturally. Shame they don't sell new clothes here though. Chen-Lu sounded slightly disappointed. We'll have to wait for another opportunity to restock clothing later, Lin Mu replied. Look what I picked up, one for each of us. Chen-Lu pulled 5 smartphones out of her backpack, grinning proudly. Phones. Lin Mu blinked in surprise. One apiece. There's no cell service on the train, but they work as gaming devices. We can take photos, play music, watch downloaded videos, far better than having nothing at all. She passed a phone to everyone. I've grown so used to having my phone on me constantly. It feels strange being without one. Lin Mu accepted his device and murmured thoughtfully. Night? I feel the exact same way. Chen-Lu nodded repeatedly. By the time they exited the mall, night had fully fallen. Shinjuku after dark was far more bustling than during the day. Izakaya and bar signs lit up the streets, and street performers put on acts every few blocks. Groups of young people wandered the sidewalks, laughter and music blending together to paint a classic Tokyo nightscape. It's gorgeous. Chen-Lu stood at the mall entrance, gazing at the glittering streetlights and sighing in wonder. But this isn't our world. Su Qingli stood beside her, her soft gaze fixed on the Tokyo Tower glowing orange in the distance. For this moment, we can pretend we're just tourists here, when Wantong smiled gently. Lin Mu said nothing, quietly drinking in the city's night view. Then he turned and headed down the street lined with bars. Come on, time to get to work. The 3 women exchanged a quick glance and hurried to follow him. Night wind swept down the street, carrying the unique mixed scents of the city. Linmu walked at the front, streetlights stretching his shadow long across the pavement. Senior. Chen-Lu quickened her pace to catch up and walk beside him. Do you think every station will be like this from now on? Wander around and eat good food by day, hunt monsters, and level up at night. Chen-Lu daydreamed about such a pleasant routine. You're dreaming. Ghouls are primarily nocturnal here, which is why we had free time to shop. Our next station might throw us straight into life or death combat the second we step off the train. Linmu teased her. That still sounds fine. I know Senior will protect me. Chen-Lu smiled softly. Don't rely on me for everything. You need to learn to defend yourself too. Linmu reached over to ruffle her hair. I'll work hard not to slow you down. Chen-Lu nodded firmly. His true eye ability, paired with the resonance of ghostly aura, guided Linmu back to the front of the target bar. The ordinary-looking alleyway from daytime transformed completely after dark. Colorful lights spilled out from bars and izakayas, different melodies drifting out from every shop, and inebriated office workers stumbled past occasionally. The bar that had remained shuttered all day was now illuminated, faint silhouettes shifting behind the crack of its door. How many ghouls inside? Su Qingli stepped up beside Linmu. 5, Linmu answered. Can you handle them? When Wantong asked, a flicker of worry in her tone. We won't know until we try. Linmu cracked his knuckles loosely. Be careful, Senior. Chen-Lu whispered a quiet warning. Rest assured, even if things go south, they can't stop me from escaping. Find somewhere hidden to wait, and don't come out unless I call you on the new phones. Linmu issued his instructions. The cell phones Chen-Lu had just purchased finally served a practical purpose. Beneath the three women's anxious stares, Linmu pushed open the bar door and stepped inside. Deafening music crashed over him instantly, revealing the bar's chaotic interior. Linmu had never set foot in a bar before, yet everything matched his preconceived stereotypes. Men and women dancing wildly on the dance floor, strobing multicolored lights, and a cloying mix of alcohol and perfume hanging thick in the air. Behind the counter, a bartender performed flashy flare tricks, spinning liquor bottles through the air and drawing squeals from female patrons. Linmu paid no mind to the spectacle, following the trail of ghostly aura deeper into the venue. What can I get you? The bartender called out. Linmu waved a hand to decline a drink as he passed. Two young men in black suits sat in the corner of the bar, gang tattoos peeking out from their cuffs, enforcers for the establishment. They glanced Linmu over once, noted his plain clothing and lack of hostile energy, then lost interest. Linmu cut straight through the rowdy dance floor to the private booths at the back, stopping in front of one closed door. This was where the 5 thick concentrations of ghostly aura converged, the densest aura of all. Perfect. I'll take them all out at once. Linmu pulled a machete out of his backpack, then activated Ghost Aura Infusion. A frigid, sinister power surged out from within him, spreading through every inch of his body. He felt his frame lighten instantly, raw power thrumming beneath his muscles. Numbers flickered across his status panel. Ghost Aura Infusion active. All stats boosted by 50. Strength, 6496. Agility, 4973.5. Constitution, 3045. Spirit, 6394.5. So this is what a 50% universal stat boost feels like. Linmu tightened his grip on the machete and slammed his boot hard against the wooden booth door. Bang! The door flew off its hinges, crashing fully into the room and slamming against a low Japanese-style dining table positioned opposite the entrance. Bottles and glasses shattered across the floor with a cacophony of glass breaking. This private washitsu booth was far more spacious than Linmu had anticipated. 5 figures sat gathered around the low table. They hadn't activated their ghoul transformation yet, appearing indistinguishable from regular humans, men and women ranging from their 20s to 40s. The second the door crashed inward, their bodies tensed. All 5 pairs of eyes snapped toward Linmu simultaneously. They could clearly sense the ghostly aura clinging to his body, a power that rightfully belonged to their own kind, yet radiating off this random human intruder. Confusion and wariness crossed every ghoul's face in unison. Linmu gave them no time to process their shock. He raised his left palm, aiming straight for the ghoul closest to him. Bolstered by his amplified 94.5 spirit stat under Ghost Aura Infusion, he unleashed a direct air cannon. A visible shockwave of compressed air blasted forth from his palm, far more violent than any he'd summoned before. The air cannon, empowered by max spirit stat, swallowed the untransformed ghoul whole without mercy. Boom. Its body exploded on impact, splattering ash-gray flesh everywhere. It didn't even have time to scream before dissolving into mangled chunks across the floor. Ghoul slain. Experience gained. 100 unsettled. The remaining 4 ghouls snapped out of their stupor. They shot upright from their floor cushions, thick, ghostly aura erupting out of their bodies as their human forms tore apart. All 4 fully transformed into their ghoul states at once. But Lin Mu's machete was already swinging toward the second target. This ghoul moved with blinding speed, instinctively raising its razor-sharp claw to block the strike, mid-transformation. Clang! A deafening metallic clash echoed through the booth, sparks spraying everywhere. A flicker of smugness flashed across the ghoul's eyes. Its claws were harder than steel. No human blade could pierce them. It had no idea Lin Mu's strength stat now sat at 96. The raw force behind the machete spiked abruptly in the next instant. Lin Mu didn't shift his stance an inch, simply pouring all his amplified strength into the downward slash. The blade ground past the ghoul's claw, sinking deep into its shoulder before slicing clean through its hip. Split clean in two, from the top of its skull all the way down to its pelvis. The creature's body split cleanly down the middle, entrails and gray-black blood flooding the floor in a gory rush. Ghoul slain. Experience gained. 100 unsettled, but the machete in Lin Mu's hand let out a sharp crack. He glanced down. A huge chunk of the blade had chipped off, riddled with cracks that threatened to snap the weapon in two entirely. Lin Mu sighed in exasperation. He hadn't expected that after his strength was boosted by 50%, even a standard machete couldn't withstand his full power. One full-strength swing alone had ruined the blade beyond use. Fortunately, he carried spares in his backpack. He tossed the broken blade aside and drew a brand new machete from storage. From kicking the door down to slaying 2 ghouls, less than 5 seconds had passed. 3 more ghouls remained in the private booth, forming a triangular formation as they watched Lin Mu warily. "Who are you?" The eldest-looking ghoul among the 3 spoke. "You reek of ghostly aura, yet you're human." "That shouldn't be possible," another ghoul challenged. Lin Mu wasted no words on them. He raised his right hand, condensing another air cannon. The 3 ghouls' faces paled in unison. They had witnessed the destructive power of his previous blast. A direct hit meant certain death. "Scatter!" The elder ghoul roared. The 3 leaped apart in separate directions at once. The booth was cramped, however, leaving nowhere to truly hide. Boom! The air cannon detonated at the room's center. The low wooden table shattered to splinters, wine bottles bursting and liquid splattering everywhere. One ghoul failed to dodge in time and was caught by the shockwave. Its entire left arm blew off, gray-black blood gushing wildly as it screeched and crashed to the ground. Lin Mu gave it no chance to recover. A second air cannon shot forth instantly. The injured ghoul struggled to rise, but it was too slow. The blast struck dead center in its chest. Its torso exploded, and the corpse flew backward to slam against the wall, leaving a massive bloodstain. Ghoul slain ×1. Experience gained. 100 unsettled. 2 ghouls left. The elder ghoul's expression turned utterly desperate. It realized the human standing before them was far beyond anything they could fight. "Split up and run." The elder ghoul shouted and bolted straight for the side window of the booth. The other ghoul sprinted toward the opposite window, ready to smash through the glass and flee. Lin Mu pushed off the ground with explosive force, his 73.5 agility fully unleashed. He streaked forward like a blurred shadow. The ghoul's claws had barely touched the window frame when Lin Mu's machete descended. Squelch! One clean beheading. The ghouls had spun twice through the air before thudding to the floor and rolling into the corner. Ghoul slain ×1. Experience gained. 100 unsettled. Only the last ghoul remained. The elder ghoul had already smashed the window open, half its body wriggling outside. Lin Mu raised his hand and fired another air cannon. Boom! The elder ghoul was blasted out along with shards of glass, crashing heavily onto the corridor floor. Lin Mu stepped out of the booth into the corridor and stared down at the fallen ghoul. Who exactly are you?" The ghoul leader craned its neck upward, scarlet eyes burning with terror and bitter resentment. Lin Mu said nothing. The machete fell. Ghoul slain ×1. Experience gained. 100 unsettled. Silence fell over the scene. Then a scream rang out from the dance floor nearby, as someone spotted the carnage. Panic erupted across the entire bar in an instant. Several Yakuza bouncers glanced between Lin Mu and the inhuman monsters strewn at his feet, then opted for self-preservation. They turned and fled alongside the terrified patrons. They were here to earn money, not risk their lives. Lin Mu shook the blood from his blade and stowed the machete in his backpack. He pulled out the phone Chen Lu had just bought and dialed her number. "It's done, come over." "Senior, you're incredible. We're on our way right now." Chen Lu's excited voice crackled through the receiver. Less than a minute later, the 3 girls burst into the bar. By then, Lin Mu had collected all 5 condensed ghost aura orbs left behind by the dead ghouls. Chun Lu surged to his side, patting him all over to check for wounds before exhaling in relief. I'm glad you aren't hurt, but this place smells terrible. She glanced into the booth and pinched her nose. After a full day of combat, she'd grown somewhat desensitized to gory sights, yet the stench of ghoul blood still turned her stomach. Everything goes smoothly. When Wantong asked Lin Mu. All good, though one machete broke. My boosted strength is too powerful for ordinary blades. I held back my strength afterward, and they held up fine. Lin Mu replied with a faint, helpless laugh. Thank goodness. Did you take care of all 5? When Wantong relaxed. Every last one. Lin Mu nodded. He opened his palm, revealing 5 black ghost aura orbs resting neatly in his hand. This place isn't safe to linger. Let's collect the loot. When Wantong held out her hand to him, Lin Mu laced his fingers through hers and began looting the resources dropped by the 5 ghouls. Loot acquired. Wood times 10/12/12/14/10 5 ghouls total. Affection critical hit triggered. Current bonded partner in contact. When Wantong. Affection value. 50. Random critical multipliers. 20x divided by 12x divided by 18x divided by 25x divided by 22x. Gained. Wood times 200/144/216/350/220 total wood, 1130. Loot acquired. Iron blocks times 12/10/11/13/12 5 ghouls total. Affection critical hit triggered. Random critical multipliers. 18x divided by 22x divided by 15x divided by 19x divided by 20x. Gained. Iron blocks times 216/220/165/247/240 total iron blocks, 1088. Lines of loot notifications flooded their vision, every member's status panel flickering nonstop. When Wantong's eyes widened slightly behind her glasses at the staggering numbers. 1,130 wood, 1,088 iron blocks. This is far more than I expected. Even ignoring our leftover stock from before, this haul alone is enough to upgrade the train to Tier 3, Su Qingli said. We can sort that out later. Let's settle the experience first. Experience sharing is unlocked now. I wonder how much Teacher Wen will get. Chun Lu's curiosity spiked. Agreed. Let's try it. Su Qingli nodded, equally interested. Lin Mu opened his experience settlement menu. Settle all experience? Yes/no. He selected yes. Experience critical hit triggered. Current bonded partner in contact. When Wantong. Affection value. 50. Random critical multiplier. 10x. Base experience. 500. Experience after critical hit. 5,000. Player level up. LV.11 LV.12. Level reward. All stats plus 3. LV.12 LV.13. Level reward. All stats plus 3. LV.13 LV.14. Level reward. All stats plus 3. He jumped 3 levels in the blink of an eye, gaining a total of plus 9 to all attributes. Current level, LV.14. Strength, 6473. Agility, 4958. Constitution, 3039. Spirit, 6372. 73 Strength, 58 Agility, 39 Constitution, 72 Spirit. Chun Lu read the stats off his panel out loud. Senior, what were your stats when you first boarded the train yesterday? 8 Strength, 8 Agility, 9 Constitution, 12 Spirit. Lin Mu recalled clearly. Your stats skyrocketed in less than 2 days. I'm so glad you're on our side. Chun Lu said proudly. Experience sharing activated. Select recipient for shared experience. Available recipient, when Wantong. Recipient selected, when Wantong. Bonded partner when Wantong receives shared experience, 5,000 by 20. Shared experience gained, 1,000. Player level up. LV.1 LV.2. Level reward. All stats plus 2. LV.2 LV.3. Level reward. All stats plus 2. LV.3 LV.4. Level reward. All stats plus 2. LV.4 LV.5. Level reward. All stats plus 2. Current level, LV.5. Strength, 614. Agility, 816. Constitution, 715. Spirit, 5159. Chun Lu fell silent mid-study of Lin Mu's stats. She was already used to Lin Mu leveling up at rocket speed, but watching Teacher Wen surge forward just as fast was entirely new. Teacher Wen, you jumped straight from level 1 to 5 for levels at once. Chun Lu exclaimed. You only got 20% of the experience, right? Chun Lu exclaimed in shock. It's common sense that leveling grows harder as you advance. 20% of 5,000 experience is a massive amount. Su Qingli remained calm. I didn't anticipate leveling up this rapidly all at once. When Wantong struggled, Chen Lu immediately wrapped both arms around Lin Mu's arm, pressing it tight against her chest. What are you doing? Lin Mu asked, confused. I'm sticking close to raise my affection with you. I'm already at 45, just 5 more points, and I'll unlock spirit sharing too. I want to level up 4 times, just like Teacher 1. Chen Lu pumped herself up. Hey, Sister Su, want to join us too? Chen Lu called out to Su Qingli. No need. Su Qingli flatly declined, her expression blank. All right then, Teacher 1, you want to stick close to Senior? I'm fine. I already hit 50 affection, when Wantong pretended to gaze at the surroundings to avoid eye contact. You can keep raising it even at 50. Who knows what new bond perks will unlock? Don't be surprised if I surpass you later. Chen Lu grinned triumphantly. Enough fooling around. Let's handle important business first. Lin Mu pulled his arm free from her grasp and pulled out the 5 black Ghost Aura orbs. Use Ghost Aura Orb times 1. Affection critical hit triggered. Current bonded partner in contact. When Wantong. Affection value. 50. Random critical multiplier. 18x. Ghost Aura gained. 18. Ghost Aura. 4866. Use Ghost Aura Orb times 1. Affection critical hit triggered. Current bonded partner in contact. When Wantong. Affection value. 50. Random critical multiplier. 22x. Ghost Aura gained. 22. Ghost Aura. 6688. Use Ghost Aura Orb times 1. Affection critical hit triggered. Current bonded partner in contact. When Wantong. Affection value. 50. Random critical multiplier. 25x. Ghost Aura gained. 25. Ghost Aura. 88,113. After consuming 3 orbs in a row, Lin Mu's Ghost Aura climbed from 48 to 113. 113 points. That's nearly 2 full hours of boosted stats. Chen Lu lit up at the number. Her excitement faded quickly, however, as her eyes landed on the 2 remaining black orbs in Lin Mu's palm. Senior, you still have 2 left? Why not use them all now? These 2 are for the rest of you. Lin Mu handed 1 orb each to Chen Lu and Wen Wantong. For us. Chen Lu blinked, stunned. Lin Mu had mentioned letting her and Wen Wantong use Ghost Aura orbs once they unlocked critical gift, yet she hadn't expected it to happen so soon. Just as I said before, you all need the means to protect yourselves, Lin Mu nodded. From a team perspective, self-defense is essential. We can't afford to distract you during crises. I'll take this. Wen Wantong accepted her orb. All right, I won't turn it down then. Seeing Wen Wantong take hers, Chen Lu nodded and grabbed her own. Lin Mu glanced at Su Qingli, the only one without an orb, a faint awkwardness crossing his face. Everyone else had won, leaving her empty-handed. No need to feel awkward. I haven't unlocked critical gift yet, Su Qingli said. So using an orb on me would be a waste. Su Qingli reassured him without a trace of resentment. Even so, I still feel bad, Lin Mu apologized. Meanwhile, Wen Wantong never let go of Lin Mu's hand, and she activated her Ghost Aura Orb. Use Ghost Aura Orb? Yes/no. She selected yes. Ghost Aura Orb times 1 consumed. Base Ghost Aura gained. 1. Daily critical gift consumed. Affection critical hit activated. Critical multiplier range, 150. Random critical multiplier, 25x. Total Ghost Aura gained, 25. When Wantong's body trembled slightly, a cold, eerie power surged up her palm and spread through every inch of her body. She shuddered instinctively, and a new line appeared on her status panel. Ghost Aura, 25. 25 points of Ghost Aura, 25 minutes of full stat enhancement. Chen Lu leaned over to peer at her panel. This feeling is incredibly strange, when Wantong nodded, sensing the frigid power swirling inside her. My turn. Chen Lu tightly clasped Lin Mu's hand and activated her own orb. Use Ghost Aura Orb? Yes/no. She selected yes. Ghost Aura Orb times 1 consumed. Base Ghost Aura gained. 1. Daily critical gift consumed. Affection critical hit activated. Critical multiplier range, 145. Random critical multiplier, 20x. Total Ghost Aura gained, 20. Chen Lu's frame trembled lightly, her twin ponytails bouncing with the movement. It's cold, like something's creeping in through my palm. She twisted her hands over and over, then pulled up her status panel. Ghost Aura, 20. 20 minutes of full stat boost. I've got my own Ghost Aura now. Chen Lu cheered loudly. Wailing police sirens echoed in the distance. We need to go fast. I don't want to get dragged to the station for questioning by Japanese cops. Imagine the tabloid headline: 4 foreign tourists suspected of gang shootout. That would be so embarrassing. Chen Lu grabbed Lin Mu's sleeve and tugged him toward the exit. What on earth goes through your head? Lin Mu let her pull him outside, glancing at her with helpless amusement. Tabloid news. I used to love reading bizarre crime stories like this. Chen Lu retorted confidently. When Wantong hurried along behind them, a faint smile tugging at her lips. Su Qingli walked at the rear, the hem of her ancient-style dress fluttering gently in the night breeze, her steps unhurried, as if the approaching sirens meant nothing to her. The four slipped out the bar's back door and ducked into a narrow alley. They soon left the nightlife district behind and stepped back onto Shinjuku's main thoroughfare. Shinjuku's nightlife was far livelier than its daytime bustle, packed with groups of young people, office workers, and even schoolgirls in uniform. Senior, where do we look for more ghouls next? Chen Lu asked. We wiped out all 5 in that bar. There shouldn't be any nearby, right? Chen Lu asked. Lin Mu opened his mouth to reply, then froze mid-step. The ghostly aura trails in his vision had shifted. The thin black thread-like wisps that once webbed the air were visibly fading. They weren't carried away by wind. Something was actively sucking them in. An invisible vortex devoured every trace of ghost aura, drawing all of it toward a single direction in the city. What's wrong? When Wantong noticed his rigid expression and whispered, the ghost aura trails are disappearing, something's absorbing them. Lin Mu's gaze tracked the flow of black threads toward a distant section of the city. At that moment, the emotionless mechanical system voice boomed inside all their heads. Alert! 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 Mass ghoul extermination by players has roused the Ghost King sealed in captivity. The seal has broken prematurely, awakening the Ghost King ahead of schedule. Mission difficulty for this station raised across the board. Updated mission objective: survive the Ghost King's pursuit until the mission timer expires. Remaining time: 39 hours 22 minutes. Players cannot return to the train during this period. All collected resources will be automatically transferred to train storage. Upon mission completion, surviving players will be teleported directly back to the train. Good luck to all participants. Mass extermination? Us. Chen Lu blinked in shock. We've slain 7 ghouls total today, 5 in the bar, plus the 1 in the apartment, and the group leader, when Wantong quickly tallied. 7 counts as mass? This Ghost King is way too sensitive. Chen Lu complained. We killed 35 zombies back in the zombie town before triggering a boss, and only 7 here? Chen Lu complained in disbelief. Ghouls individually possess far greater strength than zombies. The Ghost King was likely already on the verge of waking. Our hunts were simply the final straw, when Wantong analyzed. Lin Mu said nothing, his gaze fixed firmly on the sky several kilometers away. Thick, tangible black ghost aura surged straight upward from that spot, towering into the night sky. The oppressive aura it radiated sent soul deep shudders through anyone who sensed it, even from kilometers away. It did not take long for the others to notice it too. Chen Lu's jaw hung open, yet she could not utter a single word. When Wantong pushed her glasses up the bridge of her nose, her fingers trembling faintly. Standing beside Lin Mu, Su Qingli fixed her gaze on the sky. That's the Ghost King? Chen Lu finally found her voice, her throat dry and scratchy. It must be. Su Qingli nodded in agreement. Senior, you saw it too, right? That black mass over there. Chen Lu twisted to face Lin Mu. I saw it, Lin Mu replied with a nod. He could feel the suffocating, massive, ghostly energy surging in the distance. It stemmed from the same source as the ghost energy inside his own body, yet the scale was incomparable. If the ghost energy within Lin Mu were a single cup of water, the roiling mass far off was an entire lake. What about you, Teacher Wen? You saw it as well. Chen Lu turned to Wen Wantong next. I did. Wen Wantong's answer was short, her eyes never straying from the darkened sky. But how can Sister Su see it? She doesn't possess any ghost energy. Chen Lu voiced her confusion. I truly can see it. That black mass spreads endlessly, as if it intends to swallow the entire sky. Su Qingli described the sight unfolding before her eyes. Perhaps this ghost energy is far too immense, dense enough to take tangible form, when Wantong analyzed. Even those without ghost energy within them can witness it with their bare eyes, when Wantong analyzed. In other words, it's thick enough to become physical substance? Chen Lu attempted to wrap her head around the concept. Something close to that, when Wantong nodded. Lin Mu tore his eyes away from the smoke and glanced at the 3 girls beside him. Regardless, we'll go scope out the situation first. Go check it out? Senior, do you mean we're getting close to that thing? Chen Lu's voice rose several octaves in alarm. We'll only scout. We don't know a single thing about the Ghost King yet. Even if we plan to flee its pursuit, we need basic intelligence. Lin Mu spoke in a calm, steady tone. Lin Mu is right. Information means survival. Knowing nothing about the Ghost King is the greatest danger. Furthermore, the Ghost King has only just woken. This is likely its weakest state, the perfect window to gather information, Su Qingli added. Fine, let's go scout. Chen Lu drew a deep breath and nodded firmly, her twin ponytails bouncing with the motion. The four set off down the street, heading toward the source of the surging ghost energy. The closer they drew, the heavier the oppressive weight hanging in the air grew. The sensation was bizarre. Even kilometers apart, they could distinctly feel the presence of something enormous. Pedestrians on the roadside had also spotted the unnatural sky. Many paused, pointing at the black mist overhead and murmuring to one another. Some pulled out their phones to take photos. Others wore confused expressions, and a few made calls, seemingly asking for information. Yet no panic had broken out, for none of them understood what they were witnessing. As Lin Mu listened to the automatically translated Japanese chatter all around him, an absurd thought washed over him. The millions of people in this city had no idea what deadly peril loomed over them. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of Shinjuku's residential district, inside a two-story Japanese single-family home, Zhao Tai leaned against the window, sipping slowly from a bottle of mineral water. Qian Dimeo sat on the living room sofa, his face dark with displeasure. His two teammates from the Ash Convoy, the beer-bellied middle-aged man and the young woman, sat silently in the corner, not daring to make a sound. Members from the other three train car groups scattered across the living room and courtyard. Some rested, others whispered. In the center of the living room floor lay the corpse of a ghoul. Its gray-black blood had congealed, forming a dark sticky stain across the wooden planks. The second one, Zhao Tai screwed the cap back onto his water bottle and glanced at the corpse. Our chain convoy took down one, and we teamed up to slay the second. 2 ghouls total so far. His gaze swept over everyone gathered in the room. Slay 2 more, and all of us will complete our missions, he continued. We owe you chain convoy our thanks. If you hadn't coordinated so seamlessly against that last ghoul, someone would have definitely gotten hurt. A young man in a plaid shirt stared at Zhao Tai with undisguised admiration. Exactly. Your Sonda moves were incredible. One kick sent the ghoul flying. And that fencing strike. I didn't even see you move before the ghoul collapsed. All of you from the chain convoy must have trained combat arts before, right? Zhao Tai waved off their lavish praise without a word. The other 3 members of the chain convoy smiled widely, clearly reveling in the admiration. They were originally members of the same fitness club, training together regularly in Sonda, fencing, and Muay Thai. Within this survival game, their combat training put them leagues ahead of ordinary players. Zhao Tai had reached level 4 at the last station, and the other 3 were all level 3, stats that ranked among the absolute top tier of all participants. Qian Dimeo's face on the sofa turned blacker by the second. Though his grade B flame palm skill had proven useful in the previous fight, everyone's attention had fixated on the chain convoy's flawless team coordination, not his individual fire ability. TCH. Qian Dimeo muttered a bitter scoff, crumpling his empty water bottle and tossing it aside. Brother Qian, don't let them get under your skin. The young woman from the Ash Convoy crept cautiously closer. I know, Qian Dimeo snapped. Yet his eyes remained locked on Zhao Tai by the window, brimming with burning jealousy. Just as the room's atmosphere stayed relatively relaxed, an emotionless mechanical voice echoed for every player to hear. Alert! 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 Mass player hunting of ghouls has roused the sealed Ghost King, shattering its bindings and awakening it ahead of schedule. All mission difficulty for this station drastically increased. Updated mission objective. Survive the Ghost King's pursuit until the mission timer expires. Time remaining. 39 hours, 22 minutes. Players cannot return to the train during this period. All acquired supplies may be transferred directly to train storage lockers. Upon mission conclusion, surviving players will be teleported back to the train automatically. Good luck to all participants. Silence crashed over the living room. A Ghost King. The plaid shirt man's voice cracked with shock. Mass ghoul hunting? Who's been mass slaughtering them? We've only killed 2. We haven't even finished our quest yet. Another man shot to his feet and shouted. Who else? It's definitely that family convoy group. Qian Dimeo also jumped up from the sofa. All traces of his sullenness vanished, replaced by vicious glee at having a target for his frustration. I knew there was something off about them. Look at their attitude. They never respected any of us from the start. They couldn't even stop killing monsters after finishing their own missions. And now they've woken the Ghost King. Exactly. They only care about themselves. not whether the rest of us live or die. We still haven't completed our ghoul hunts. How are we supposed to find any now the Ghost King's awake? Forget hunting ghouls. Didn't you hear the mission update? We don't need to kill them anymore. We just need to stay alive. Just stay alive? That's easy to say when the Ghost King is actively hunting us down. Chaos erupted in the living room as everyone argued and shouted over one another. Even Zhao Tai's face turned ashen gray. I thought they seemed suspicious from the start. That lead man acts utterly arrogant, and all the women with him carry themselves like they're above everyone else. Now look what mess they've dragged all of us into. Qian Dimeo, emboldened by the crowd's shared anger, yelled louder. Remember that woman who blew a concrete pillar apart with one shot? How many monsters must she have farmed to gain that much power? Someone chimed in. Right? And that man leading them never even lifted a finger to fight, yet all three women obey his every word. People like him are the most dangerous. Who knows what hidden trump cards he's holding? I say we shouldn't have let them leave back then. We should have blocked their path and demanded answers. Block them? With what? One shot from that woman would blow your skull apart. The shouting grew louder. Some traded accusations, others sighed in despair, and a few silently walked to the windows to stare blankly at the bizarre sky overhead. Silence, all of you. Zhao Tai suddenly roared in a low voice. His tone was not loud, yet it carried undeniable weight among the group. The room fell quiet instantly, every pair of eyes fixed on him. What good is shouting? Cursing them out won't send the Ghost King back to its seal. Zhao Tai's gaze swept across the crowd. The Ghost King is awake, and we cannot return to the train. We're trapped in this city for 39 hours, fleeing its relentless pursuit. Pay attention to the word pursuit. It means the Ghost King will actively hunt each of us down. Our top priority right now is survival, not hunting for someone to blame. His tone softened. Qian Dimeo parted his lips to retort, yet swallowed his words at last. Furious as he was, he could not deny Zhao Tai's logic. Look over there. A young woman standing by the window suddenly cried out in alarm. Everyone followed the line of her pointing finger, immediately spotting the roiling black mist covering the sky. The haze blotted out all moonlight and starlight. Every person who laid eyes on it felt a primal shudder resonate deep within their souls. What is that? Is that the Ghost King? The plaid shirt man's voice trembled. That doesn't look like the Ghost King's true form. It's more the aura it emits. Zhao Tai frowned deeply. Yet he was not certain. None of them possessed experience dealing with such supernatural entities. Qian Dimeo also stared at the sky swallowed by darkness, his expression shifting repeatedly between rage and fear. Those bastards from the family convoy. If I cross paths with them again, I won't let them get away with this. Qian Dimeo ground his teeth and muttered darkly. Lin Mu, however, had no idea he had been labeled the root of all their troubles. The closer they drew to the towering black mist surging skyward, the fewer pedestrians populated the streets. Modern commercial districts gave way to traditional Japanese neighborhoods lined with old architecture. Low wooden townhouses, shop fronts draped with fabric Norin curtains, and stone lanterns lined the roads, casting an illusion that they had stepped back through time. I feel like we're walking towards something incredibly ancient. Chen Lu quickened her pace to catch up with Lin Mu, unease edging into her voice. This district preserves many traditional merchant homes. It's only natural it looks old. When Wantong's eyes drifted across the roadside buildings as she spoke, the four rounded an uphill bend and caught sight of a full traditional Japanese shrine complex standing at the road's end. A vermilion torii gate stood stark against the night sky. Behind it stretched a long stone worship path flanked by rows of stone lanterns, leading to the shrine's main sanctuary hall at the far end. At this moment, however, the entire shrine was swallowed whole by thick, black ghost energy. The torii gate marked a clear divide. Outside its bounds, ghost energy lingered thinly, yet moonlight and neon city lights still pierced the haze. Inside the torii gate lay unadulterated, pitch-black darkness. The ghost energy inside was so dense it had turned tangible, churning and swirling endlessly, occasionally coalescing into twisted, malformed shapes before dissolving once more. Strangely, the mist seemed bound by an invisible restraint. Though thick enough to spill over, it never crossed the torii gate's threshold. Thin, wispy tendrils occasionally seeped through cracks in the wooden gate, only to dissipate quickly into the open air. What is this place? Chen Lu stopped short in front of the torii gate and whispered, a seal. This entire shrine functions as its prison. When Wantong fixed her gaze. So the Ghost King hasn't fully broken free of its seal yet. A flicker of relief crossed Chen Lu's face. It appears so. It has woken, but the seal still binds it. For now, it can only release ghost energy. Its true body cannot step outside. When Wantong nodded. Then what's there to fear? It can't leave. We'll just wait out the 39 hours out here and be done with the mission. Chen Lu's eyes lit up with hope. It is not that simple. Though it cannot escape yet, its ghost energy is eroding the seal. Look, mist is already leaking through. Lin Mu shook his head. Furthermore, the mission states we must survive the Ghost King's pursuit. If it could never leave its prison, there would be no pursuit to speak of, Su Qingli added. Meaning it will break free sooner or later. The light faded from Chen Lu's smile. How much longer do you think the seal will hold? Su Qingli turned to Lin Mu to ask. A few hours at minimum, a full day at most. I cannot say for certain. Lin Mu gave an ambiguous answer. Just then, rapid footsteps echoed from afar. Lin Mu twisted around to see 3 humanoid figures sprinting around the street corner, charging straight for the shrine. As they drew near, the ghost energy inside Lin Mu's body suddenly stirred restlessly. Wen Wantong and Chen Lu, who also harbored ghost energy within them, felt the identical reaction. A resonant pull emanating from the 3 approaching figures. Ghouls. Wen Wantong's high spirit stat let her detect their presence a split second earlier than Chen Lu. 3 of them. They're rushing right at us. Chen Lu instinctively ducked half behind Lin Mu's frame. They're not targeting us. They're heading for the shrine. Su Qingli corrected her. Move aside. Do not block our path. We go to pay homage to Lord Ghost King. The lead ghoul let out a ragged snarl as it charged forward. Lin Mu stood rigid and unyielding before the Torii gate. The 3 ghouls closed the distance rapidly. I told you, get out of our way. Enraged, the lead ghoul slashed its clawed hand through the air, 5 black talons glinting with cold light, fully intent on tearing Lin Mu apart so it could rush into the shrine. Lin Mu moved. He pulled a machete from his backpack and activated ghost energy infusion in an instant, the blade slicing a frigid silver arc through the night air. Squelch. The lead ghoul never even saw Lin Mu's strike land before its vision spun wildly. It watched its own body remain frozen mid-charge, its neck a gaping empty cavity as gray-black blood gushed violently from the wound. One clean strike, severing its head entirely. The other 2 ghouls reacted far faster than their fallen comrade. The second the first ghoul collapsed, they split apart and circled around to flank Lin Mu from left and right. Human, you dare bar us from worshipping Lord Ghost King. The left ghoul roared, surging ghost energy outward until its claws stretched to unnatural lengths, its form fully transformed. Die? Lord Ghost King demands sacrifices. The right ghoul also fully ghostified, moving even faster than the other as it lunged sideways straight for Lin Mu's throat. Lin Mu did not shift his footing an inch. He raised his left palm, aiming directly at the faster ghoul on his right. Air bullet. Boom. Boosted by 94.5 spirit points, the compressed air projectile blew the ghoul's entire upper body to smithereens. Gray-black flesh and bone splattered across the pavement. Its severed lower legs stumbled forward 2 paces before collapsing with a heavy thud. At the same time, the left ghoul had closed into Lin Mu's front. Lin Mu twisted his torso sideways, sweeping his machete upward from below. Slice. The blade bit into the ghoul's chin and cleaved straight through the top of its skull, splitting its head clean in 2. The ghoul's body stumbled forward 2 more steps mid-lunge before crashing lifelessly to the ground. The entire battle, from first strike to final kill, lasted less than 5 seconds. Chen Lu watched the scene unfold behind him, her heart hammering wildly, yet overwhelmed by a profound sense of safety. She had witnessed Lin Mu fight many times before, yet the sheer, effortless dominance of his strikes still filled her with exhilaration, stronger even than her revulsion at the bloodied corpses scattered across the ground. Wen Wantong and Su Qingli appeared far calmer by comparison, yet the system notification panel that popped up moments later laid bare their true inner emotions. Bond target favorability increase notification. Wen Wantong favorability +3, current favorability 53. Chen Lu favorability +3, current favorability 48. Su Qingli favorability +3, current favorability 25. The 2 women who had seemed composed exchanged a brief glance, then simultaneously turned their heads to pretend to admire the surrounding scenery, attempting to hide their flustered expressions. Instead, Chen Lu skipped forward. Pinching her nose to endure the foul stench, she picked up the 3 newly condensed ghost aura orbs and handed them straight to Lin Mu. Lin Mu then shook hands with Wen Wantong to collect the dropped resources. Loot acquired. Timber times 11/12/10 from 3 ghouls. Favorability critical triggered. Current bond target in contact. Wen Wantong. Favorability 53. Random critical multipliers this time. 18x divided by 22x divided by 15x. Rewarded. Timber times 198 slash 264 slash 150. Total timber, 612. Loot acquired. Iron ingots times 9 slash 11 slash 10 from 3 ghouls. Favorability, critical triggered. Random critical multipliers this time. 20x divided by 16x divided by 25x. Rewarded. Iron ingots times 180 slash 176 slash 250. Total iron ingots, 606. Resource collection finished, and experience point settlement followed immediately after. Experience critical triggered. Current bond target in contact. When Wantong. Favorability, 53. Random critical multiplier this time, 12x. Base experience, 300-100 EXP per ghoul, 3 total. EXP after critical hit, 3,600. Player level up. LV.14 LV.15. Level up reward. All stats plus 3. LV.15 LV.16. Level up reward. All stats plus 3. Current level. LV.16. Strength. 73-79. Agility. 58-64. Constitution. 39-45. Spirit. 72-78. Before level 10, the EXP required for each level increased by 100 points. Starting from level 11, the EXP requirement rose by 200 points per level. That meant ascending from LV.14 to LV.15 demanded 1800 EXP, and LV.15 to LV.16 required 2000 EXP. Coupled with overflow EXP carried over from prior level UPS, Lin Mu jumped 2 whole levels in one go. Shared experience activated. Bond target, when Wantong, receives shared EXP, 3600 by 20. Shared EXP gained, 720. Player level up. LV.5 LV.6. Level up reward. All stats plus 2. Current level. LV.6. Strength. 1416. Agility. 1618. Constitution. 1517. Spirit. 5961. Teacher when only leveled up once this time? Last time you jumped 4 levels straight. Chun Lu leaned over to examine the system panel. That's because I was only level 1 back then. The EXP needed to rank up was tiny, so I naturally shot up 4 levels. It's impossible to do that now, when Wantong was quite satisfied with her single level gain. Level 5 to 6 takes 500 EXP, and level 6 to 7 needs 600. 720 EXP is just enough to hit level 6, leaving an overflow of 220. Su Qingli calculated aloud. Fair enough. Leveling up once is still pretty impressive, Chun Lu mused. With all resources collected and level UPS complete, only the 3 ghost aura orbs remained. One Wantong and Chen Lu had both used up their daily critical buffs for the day, so Lin Mu consumed all 3 orbs. Consumed. Ghost aura orb times 3. Favorability critical triggered. Current bond target in contact. When Wantong. Favorability 53. Random critical multipliers this time. 22x divided by 18x divided by 25x. Ghost aura gained. 22/18/25. Ghost aura. 113, 135, 135, 153, 153, 178. After using all 3 orbs, Lin Mu's ghost aura climbed from 113 to 178 points. With this stockpile, he now possessed nearly 3 full hours of all stat amplification. What do we do next? Su Qingli turned to Lin Mu and asked. First we observe. Check the state of the seal. Lin Mu stared at the churning black darkness within the Torii Gate and murmured after a moment's thought. What if it breaks free while we're watching? We'll be the first ones caught in its attack, Chen Lu fretted. Lin Mu was about to reply when his brows suddenly knitted tight. He twisted his head toward a small grove of trees beside the shrine. Come out. Lin Mu gripped his machete, pointing its blade toward the woods. The 3 women all followed his gaze. When Wantong shaped her fingers into the form of a pistol, while Su Qingli pulled an iron sword out of her backpack. Wait, don't attack, I mean no harm, a young female voice echoed out. A figure stepped out from behind the trees a second later. It was a maiden clad in a traditional Japanese Miko shrine maiden outfit. Her long black hair was tied back with white ritual paper, exposing her pale neck and delicate collarbones. She held both hands raised high above her head, creeping forward cautiously in a clear gesture of surrender. Her pose looked somewhat comical, yet none of the 4 present laughed. Every one of them noticed she had emerged from the shrine grounds completely swallowed by roiling ghost aura. You came out of the shrine? Lin Mu did not lower his machete. His his eyes sweeping over the maiden's frame. Why yes, I am the shrine's Miko, Ace Yukino. The maiden's voice trembled, yet she forced herself to speak clearly. How did you survive inside? Ghost aura that dense would kill any ordinary human instantly. Su Qingli frowned deeply. Ace Yukino's eyes darted away, clearly hesitating whether to tell the full truth. Lin Mu caught her hesitation and lifted the machete slightly. The blood from the ghouls he'd slain still glistened wet on its blade. Ace Yukino jolted in fright. She had witnessed every second of Lin Mu slaughtering the 3 ghouls moments earlier. It's this. She reached into her collar and pulled out an object. It was a crescent-shaped Magatama jade bead, glowing with a faint emerald luminescence in the dark. Most importantly, its light actively repelled the ghost aura swirling all around them. The repulsion radius was small, barely half a meter surrounding her body, yet it worked without fail. What is this? Lin Mu asked gravely. This is our clan's ancestral treasure, the Fudo Mayu Magatama. Ace Yukino whispered softly. Fudo Mayu? When Wantong's gaze locked onto the jade bead. She was no religious scholar, yet the name Fudo Mayu was widely renowned. It can dispel ghost aura? Su Qingli asked curiously. Yes. A wisp of Fudo Mayu's karmic fire dwells within the Magatama, shielding the bearer from ghost aura corruption, but that is its only power. Ace Yukino nodded. What do you mean? Lin Mu pressed. Ace Yukino drew a deep breath, as if steeling herself for a grave confession. She glanced at the bloodied machete in Lin Mu's hand, then the 3 ghoul corpses strewn across the ground, and finally spoke. The king of ghosts sealed within this shrine is named Shuten Doji. The moment the name left her lips, Chen Lu's eyes blew wide open. Shuten Doji? The legendary yokai counted among Japan's 3 great monsters. Chen Lu's voice shot up an octave. Ace Yukino nodded, her expression bitter. That's right. 200 years ago, my ancestor, the head Miko of the shrine at that time, unleashed 9 Fudo Mayu Magatamas to summon 9 flames of karmic fire, intending to slay Shuten Doji once and for all. Tragically, my ancestor underestimated Shuten Doji's power. In the end, they only drained a portion of his strength and sealed him inside the Mirror of Mayu. What about the Magatama you hold now? Lin Mu questioned. There are 10 Magatamas in total. The ancient head Miko activated 9 of them, leaving this one as the last remaining relic. Ace Yukino replied. The last one. Lin Mu stared at the jade bead, a wildly bold thought swirling through his mind. Could activating the Magatama trigger a critical hit? If critical multipliers applied here, when Wantong's daily maximum critical boost was still in use today, a 53x critical multiplier would mean 53 flames of Fudo Mayu's karmic fire. 9 flames had failed to kill Shuten Doji. What about 53? Would they be enough to destroy him? People talked about surviving the Ghost King's pursuit. But if I kill the Ghost King outright, survival is guaranteed. Instead of waiting passively for doom, strike first. Lin Mu's heart hammered violently in his chest. Once the idea took root in his mind, it refused to fade. What requirements are needed to wield the karmic fire? Lin Mu pressed urgently. The ancient scrolls leave no clear instructions, only stating immense spirit power is required. No specific threshold is recorded. No one besides my ancestor ever succeeded in wielding it. Ace Yukino did not understand his line of questioning, but answered honestly regardless. Immense spirit power, something he possessed in spades, a full 78 points of spirit stat. Miss Ace. Lin Mu spoke again, his tone dead serious. Ace Yukino studied the young man before her, an ominous premonition suddenly welling up in her heart. Can you give me that Magatama around your neck? Lin Mu asked bluntly. What? Ace Yukino instinctively clamped a hand over her chest and stepped backward, her gaze sharp with wariness. What are you planning? This is my clan's sacred heirloom. I cannot give it to an outsider. Lin Mu stayed perfectly still, merely watching her quietly. You don't intend to use it against Shuten Doji, do you? That's impossible. Leaving aside whether your spirit power can even summon the fire, a single flame stands no chance against the Ghost King. If it were truly effective, my ancestor would not have left one behind. Ace Yukino shook her head frantically. I know one flame alone is insufficient. Lin Mu's tone remained calm. Then why ask for it? Ace Yukino stared, confused. I have my own method. Shuten Doji will break free from his seal sooner or later. Once he escapes, this shrine will fall, followed by all of Tokyo, and eventually the entire country. Are you willing to cling to this useless jade bead and watch all of that unfold? Lin Mu offered no further explanation, only pressed on. Ace Yukino parted her lips, unable to find a single retort. Every word Lin Mu spoke rang entirely true. In her hands, the Magatama held little value beyond protecting only herself. But if it could turn the tide of this crisis, you truly have a viable plan? Ace Yukino's voice shook. You have no choice but to trust me, Lin Mu replied without hesitation. Ace Yukino fell silent. This Magatama had passed down from her grandmother to her mother, then to her. Now she was being asked to hand it over to a complete stranger. Very well. If you can use it to defeat Shuten Doji, I will give you this Magatama. If you fail, we will all perish together anyway. Ace Yukino finally reached her decision. She stretched out her hand and passed the jade bead to him.